work, your top line can be awesome, but you need production from that second line. I'm worried.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Welcoming you back to appointment day at the Martinez house. Raul Martinez looking stressed about scheduling a colon cancer screening, but he just pledged to get screened.
Stand Up to Cancer and Optum want to help you reduce your risk for cancer. Visit takeahealthystand.org.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBrian.com. That's GotBrian.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A few isolated thunderstorms out there. Not everybody will see rain this afternoon, but some will, and it'll be nice to see that where we see it. It's going to be, of course, a hot afternoon, 92 degrees with a heat index of around 100. 76 tonight, and then up to 95 tomorrow with a small chance for storms, but a heat index at 105 or hotter.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 44 points to 39,331. Market update brought to you by Gregory Pool Equipment Company. Gregory Pool Equipment Company is hosting a hiring event at their Barrow Road location on July 13th from 9 to noon. Again, that's Barrow Road location in Raleigh from 9 till noon. Paid training and a generous benefits package. More info at gregorypool.com/careers.
Love guarded by Keels. Gets a screen. Pulls up for 3. Got it! Caleb from straight away! Jones with 1. Jones puts it up at the buzzer. Yes! He ties the game!
Joining with a long rebound. Kicks ahead to Smith. 3-ball right side.
Bang!
Shotgun snap. Bryce Young. Pressure off the backside. Throw to the end zone. Shark pulls it in with his fingertips.
And another chance. And the save's made by Anderson. And the fans will tell you, did you have a good night?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. We're back with our normal unit here following the holiday. Hopefully everyone got a chance to unplug a little. Little burgers, little dogs, little family time. Maybe a game or two. I know I did. And I'll throw this out there. I thought, right, because I was out the last couple of days of last week, I was thinking, hoping, fingers crossing, all those sorts of things, that I might come back and the second unit for the Canes would be solved.
Oh, yeah, that second line, trades
line.
And deals and wheeling and all that good
It's
stuff.
like they're going to turn Martin Necas into a second-line center, 2 second-line wingers that all want to score 30,
right?
And it's going to be solved. All right, I was at a lake, so my phone didn't have great reception throughout. I was like, you know what? When I come back, flooded with notifications, we'll be good to go. Didn't happen that way. They did do something, right? And I know, Dennis, you talked about it last week with the Roslovic signing. They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's like busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We're aware. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard.
Hey, things are things.
Yeah, like if you look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue. I love the Canes' defense, right? And actually, this is one of those deals where, and by the way, sometimes you have to do this, right? A little unplug, a little get your mind off of the moves. When you revisit it, you might, have some things confirmed or kind of, I don't agree with that anymore. Taking a day or two away from the Canes, coming back and looking at their 6, I expect, day one defensemen, it's like, you know what? I like that. They did a really good job there, saved some money, came up with a really good situation. You look at the forwards, and it's like, you know what? Exactly the same thing I thought before I unplugged, I still think now. Right, Roslovic is a good player, right? 27 years old, has a couple, 30-point seasons?
It's 240-plus.
240-plus point seasons. Like, he's a good player.
He's hit that 20-goal plateau once as well.
Here's the question, and it's a question I ask in a bunch of different sports. Sometimes you can trick yourself into thinking you can replace one with 4 who aren't as good, right? All right, we don't have a second-line center, but we have 3 fourth-line centers, and maybe we can add them all together to make a second-line center, right? By the way, Roslovic does have some center experience, so throw him in that mix. But it's like, we got Kuzi, we got Jury, we got the new guy. Maybe, they'll alternate having their hot streaks, and whoever's got the hot hand will play at the second unit. Like, it's like and by the way, I'm not comparing the Canes and Panthers, but it is similar to saying, hey, we have, 4 wide receiver 3s. Think that could be a wide receiver 1?
Oh, so we're going to Frank Reich this thing?
You don't need the second line guy. If you have 14 third line guys and you feel like you can add them up, right? It's like the same level of total talent, but it's sometimes like there's a reason why trades are made, 3 role players for 1 superstar. Right? You're not going to get the same amount of minutes from 1 superstar as you are from 4 role players. You're just going to get better, high-quality minutes and higher leverage situations from the superstar, so it evens out. The Canes right now, the thing like when I unplugged, left the roster aside, right, like a painter, right? I had a painting I thought was done, but I'm not sure. Let me put the roster over there, go work on something else for a while, come back, and I might go, oh, look at this. It needs more blues. It needs the sky needs to be fixed. I came back and I said, there's a lot of players I kind of like. There's a top line I love. And I'm not sure if I love much else. Right? I really like. Right? And by the way, like the Stahl line, I kind of put in its own separate category. And I'm including Carrier there. So that's kind of, that's is by style choice, just a different beast. The other 3 lines I consider kind of in the same category. And I see the 3 that I'm very confident in at the top line. That's Aho, that's Fetch, that's Jarvis. I see a whole bunch of guys that I'd be really happy with on that 3rd line, right? The 3rd line in that category. And you could put together 100 different combinations for that 2nd line, and I'm not sure any are going to get me excited. You could tell me Drury's there. You could tell me Fosta's there if he's healthy. You could tell me Necas is there. Necas is probably the one that gets you the most excited, but then you got to work in all of the baggage that comes with just him still being on the team. You could tell me Kuzi's there. You could tell me some of the new guys are there, and I just don't know if there's enough there to really get my engines flowing, get my engines revving. All 3s and 4s, no 2s, makes that second line a target. That's, by the way, and again, when you come back to the roster and you're still thinking the same things, that's why I really liked bringing back Gensel. Because that would have moved probably Jarvis down to the second line, and suddenly I love the second line.
Hey, you can spread it out a little bit.
Well, yeah, but then who's going up to the first line?
Sure.
Right? You're going to put Necas up there to bring Jarvis down? Like, we can have all of those conversations, but then it feels like settling, right? And that might be the best option with the way it's configured right now, but it feels like you're covering something up, right? It's like, why do you have the couch over there? It barely looks at the television. There's a stain right under where we put the couch.
Of course.
It's like, we can move things around that might fix some problems, but that doesn't change the underlying fact that you're doing it to cover a stain. And it's the definition. Again, the wide receiver comparison is the best because there are guys that I love as wide receiver 4s that if you ask them to be wide receiver 2s, I'm going like, I don't love them in that situation. That's what I think a lot of the Canes moves have done. They brought in guys who I love or kept guys who I love on a fourth line who I'm like, oh, geez, you're going to be one of the best fourth lines in the league.
Yeah, their bottom 6 is strong.
Yes.
Like, really good. Now, those guys got to play a lot of minutes.
But if those are the middle 6, I don't love them as much. That's exactly what I'm getting at. I love their bottom 6. They're the middle 6. I'm less in love. I'm more in like. And I said this, by the way. I said this on Twitter a couple days ago, and somebody responded with, it's July 3rd or whatever day it was, right? Like, there's still a lot of time, and I agree. And I'm open to Eric Tulsky and the front office pulling some kind of rabbit out of their hat. I just am not 100% sure. There's a lot of 30 goal-scoring wingers walking around available between now and game 1. If you tell me they're going to do something at the deadline, that's a different beast, right? And that becomes more of a possibility because you're going to see teams become sellers, and they'll be motivated for different reasons. So if the plan is to stay patient to the deadline, I mean, I'm here for it, but I'm also going to, still talk about the team before that happens. So we're going to have some honest conversations. That is one possibility. If you're going to just wait till the deadline or wait until someone else becomes motivated to sell by how their season is going, we can have those conversations.
You think Eric Tulsky's just sitting there with his feet up listening to us right now? Kane's development camp's taking place, and he's like, you know what? That Felix Unger-Storm guy, that guy, he's going to be right there.
I would love it.
So whatever you guys are talking about, y'all don't even know.
Or Jackson Blake or Bradley Nadeau, if one of them is a secret ace in the hole, I would love it. I hope Eric Tulsky is somewhere confidently telling us, you guys are going to sound like fools. Mark this down, play it back 3 months from now when we have the highest scoring rookie in the league, and he's playing perfectly off of Kuzi in the second line. I would love that. What are the chances of it? There's a whole other conversation, but I would love that. If Felix Unger-Storm, who I saw on social media today doing his lap speed test, if he's an 18-year-old wonderkind, I would love it. We'll see. That's like bookmark it, right? Everybody feel free. Bookmark it. July 8th, 3/11. You just came back from a break, and you said, I would love to be a fool. So go ahead and play this when I'm a fool, and I will celebrate it. You can find it on all of our podcasts and all that kind of stuff. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan, something Gordon Miller's been doing since 1987. And I was out of town this weekend, if you're like me, boom, you're checking the everywhere you are, you're checking the property rates and prices and, how much would my house be worth here, just because it's fun. What you do know is the interest rates are going to be a certain level no matter what. And right now, if the rates are high, that might be scaring you away from buying. But Miller Lending might be able to take away some of that fear by simply offering a no closing cost loan, which allows you to refinance as many times as you need if and when those rates drop. Instead of being terrified and I'm going to wait till they drop, you can buy now, no closing costs and fees, so none of that extra cash out of your pocket. And then when they drop, if they drop 2 months from now, 3 months from now, a year from now, simply call up Miller Lending, say, hey, the rates have dropped. I want to get that refi now, again, with no cost to me, no cash out of my pocket. They'll go, perfect, let's get you rolling here. The number to call to have that conversation is 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377, or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, and MLS number 250-2146. We're going to take a break. When we come back, 99 questions about the college football season. Our next question, inspired by the actions of many of you over this past weekend. Stick around.
It's the summer of soccer.
Swiderski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Kept alive by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant, quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle sports leader.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Welcome to Staples.
My son's teacher emailed his back-to-school list. He needs crayons and comp books.
With Staples Hot Deals, you'll find super low prices on hundreds of items for school.
Oh, now they're saying he needs folders and glue.
You got it.
And markers?
Of course.
Oh, geez.
Can we get a cart, please?
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 45 cents each at Staples. Ends 9/14. In-store only. Limit 30. Prices valid in select stores. Visit staples.com/stores/school deals.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/itpays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross.
What's next? Ballroom dancing. I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s. A shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. This past weekend, obviously holiday weekend. Did you enjoy some fireworks, Dennis?
I did.
I feel like that's an appropriate 4th of July activity.
The best part was I didn't have to go anywhere to enjoy them.
Oh, you were staying somewhere that you could see them from, like, the porch?
Well, just either that or actually so for example, Wednesday night I went out downtown. My girlfriend, my sister, and brother-in-law, the 4 of us went out downtown on Wednesday, actually, the night before 4th of July. And people were setting off stuff just right here in downtown Raleigh. You could see it like above the Raleigh skyline. I was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
We're doing this already.
You've struck exactly what I want to talk about.
Yeah. And then there was a Food Lion parking lot, I won't say which one, where people were setting off fireworks as well. And I was driving by it, and I was like, I just pulled over and enjoyed it. People were just in a Food Lion parking lot.
Fire away. That's hilarious. But here's my only take. Like, I understand both, like, the dog thing, where it's like, you know, dogs hate it. Some veterans get triggered by it, some PTSD stuff. I understand both sides of it. So I've always kind of been this. The 4th of July, you're never going to get rid of the fireworks. Like, it is part of the holiday. I just don't see how it strays onto, like, the 7th or the 6th when people are still firing them off.
Oh, I played beer league hockey last night, and we were hanging out in the parking lot afterwards, and we still heard fireworks going off last night.
Like, I'll look at my dog, and you know, I care about my dog as much as any dog owner, right? That's my guy. But I'm like, all right, today's kind of, you know, on the 4th, it's kind of going to stink for you. Like, you're going to, it's
what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. But, like, the 7th, when he's still freaking out, because I'm going, like, who didn't fire off all of the fireworks during the grand finale on the 4th? Who was like, you know what, let me keep a handful to really, you know, get the juices flowing on the 6th?
Well, it started raining, Tim. So you know what? You had some left over.
I don't know.
It rained down here. You were out of town, but it started raining here on 4th of July that evening. So actually, like, for example, at Dick's Park, they had to cut that one short.
You got to sell it next year. To me, it's the 4th. The 4th is for fireworks. If you don't do them at all on the 4th, maybe I'll allow for the 5th. Like, if it's just a sopping wet day and you're like, you know what, I'll allow for the 5th. If you have any now, I'm kind of like, you're donezo, right? No, like, hey, Monday the 8th after parties. I'm done with this. Sparklers, always fine. Sparklers, always fine. But inspired by the fireworks situation, we decided to ask 99 questions about the college football season. The series continues with this question. Who's the most explosive in the triangle?
Ooh.
Who's the most explosive player in the triangle? As always, we present the candidates from the 3 schools, Duke, UNC, NC State, not particularly in that order. But before we get started, I also want to point this out. It's 99 questions about the college football season because we started 99 days before the college football season.
Mm-hmm.
We're under 50. We're down to 47 days.
Let's go.
47 days till college football week 0 kickoff. Which school should we go first, Dennis?
Let's go with UNC.
UNC, the most boring of the bunch.
Oh, really?
It's Omari in Hampton.
Yeah, I guess.
It's boring that he's become the answer for so many of these questions. We're like 99 questions. Here's another different angle asking a question about the Tar Heels. The answer, Omari in Hampton.
That's what happens when you're the top dude.
I mean, what are you going to do?
And best returning player. It's like, oh, okay.
He averaged 5.9 yards per carry last year on 253 carries. I went back to their stats, and I looked up yards per carry, sorted by that.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it went. a player with 1 carry, a player with 3 carries, player with 1 carry, player with 2 carries, a player with 253 carries. Yeah, that guy's going to be the most explosive. Big plays down the sideline. He can catch. He's their most explosive player. If you told me like Kobe Paysour, Jones, maybe even like Nesbitt from the tight end position, I mean, maybe you consider him for a second before going, nah, it's Omarion Hampton. What team we go to next?
Let's go to NC State.
KC Concepcion. This one's, again, pretty simple, but I do think Noah Rogers is going to challenge that. Noah Rogers has speed to burn, and do you know what Noah Rogers is going to benefit from?
KC Concepcion.
Playing with KC Concepcion.
Yeah.
KC Concepcion is going to get the ball more. He's going to get the ball more creative ways, and defenses are going to know that, and safeties are going to creep down to help on KC Concepcion. And when that happens, I believe that's going to open up Noah Rogers for some downfield opportunities. As a former 5-star recruit, obviously was at Ohio State last year, didn't play very much, but I think he's going to, like, it almost might look like he's the more explosive player at times, but that's just because KC Concepcion is being respected as the more explosive player. I mean, he just made so many big plays last year. You're not going to go in another direction. And finally, Duke, Jaquez Moore.
Wide receiver?
Yeah, running back.
Yeah.
Does a little bit of everything.
Offensive weapon?
55.3 breakaway percentage. This is from Duke's, this is their like propaganda machine from their official Twitter.
Their advanced numbers.
Would have been, or was, the highest percentage from any power conference back that's eligible for next year's draft, which means he's breaking away, making a big play on a higher percentage of his touches than any back that is scheduled to be eligible for next year's NFL draft. They're going to need that so desperately.
Yeah.
And without Jordan Waters and without Calhoun and without Riley Leonard, it might be a little bit more difficult for him to pop off some of those breakaway plays.
Especially having 2 offensive linemen drafted.
A very, very good point.
Yeah.
There's going to be some, but that's the challenge for the new coaching staff of Duke. They have to find a way to get this guy in space, knowing he knows what to do what to do once he gets there. So that maybe the supporting cast used to get him in space last year. This year, maybe you have to be more scheme and use Malik Murphy, right? If you need to get the RPO game going or something like that to open it up for more, I think you should go ahead and do that. To rank those 3, I mean, Omarion Hampton and KC Concepcion are so differently, like they're differently explosive. I think you lean Omarion Hampton first, KC Concepcion second, Jaquez Moore third. But I think if you ask me 5 minutes from now, I might go KC Concepcion first, Omarion Hampton second, Jaquez Moore third. But because it's not 5 minutes from now, it is right now. Give me the guy that had 1,500 yards on 5.9 yards per carry last year in Omarion Hampton. Any discrepancies with the list?
Can't argue against it.
There you go. I like that. That means we did a good job. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Here's Dennis Cox.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. By the way, real quick, if you're a motorcycle rider, whether you've been a motorcycle rider for just a matter of a few months, you're thinking about getting your first ever bike, or you've been riding for years and years and years, even decades, you should go to lawtigers.com, again, lawtigers.com, and check out their free rider information kit. Their free rider kit is going to give you a lot of information in terms of what you are eligible for in case you get in an accident, maybe different things about your insurance. Every state law is a little bit different when it comes to vehicles and motorcycles. Maybe you're new to this area and you're not entirely sure what this state requires regarding your motorcycle. All things that you need to know. That's why you got to go to lawtigers.com. Again, check out their free rider information kit. But if you are ever injured in a motorcycle accident, this is where Law Tigers comes in. Give them a call, 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, before you call your insurance company. Insurance companies, they want to pay you the least amount of money possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They ride motorcycles just like me. They understand what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. What 17-year-old was testing themselves against the best of the best of the best in sports over the weekend? I'll tell you coming up next.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
There was such an incredible stretch of rom-coms. Where is the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days of the world? Where's the She's All That? It feels like everything now is just a remake of something else, and it's done poorly.
Well, they did remake She's All That.
I know.
With Addison Rae.
I didn't watch it. We didn't need that.
Unsportsmanlike. Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
That'll be 30 even.
That's 90 points! Sorry, that was a lot. Now that I'm getting 3 times the points on food and fuel with the Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card, I get a little too hyped sometimes.
Cool. Would you like your receipt?
In the bag! Sorry, in the bag, please.
Learn more about the everyday, everywhere Navy Federal More Rewards American Express card at NavyFederal.org. Navy Federal Credit Union. Our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Ready to unleash your full potential this season? Then head to Pure Hockey. We've got inventory of the top gear arriving from now until year end. So don't miss your chance to score the best selection of sticks, skates, and gear for on or off the ice. At Pure Hockey, you'll also experience industry-leading personalized skate fittings with the newest in advanced 3D scanning technology. So get ready to dominate in the newest skates for the season. Plus, our rewards program is unbeatable. Head to your Wake Forest Pure Hockey store plus 2 other nearby locations and start earning today. Pure Hockey, your ultimate hockey headquarters.
Where'd y'all go last week?
Well, we've been watching our budget.
So no going out?
Oh yeah, we're going out, just hitting all the specials. First, we hit the House of Hops. That's Jerome's favorite spot. Big savings on Monday and Wednesdays. Mix and match craft beer and 25% off on to-go growlers. Oh, it's a great place to relax.
You know, the Mix has some good specials and they're across the street.
You have to check out their wine tastings once a month and their live music schedule, plus $5 draft beer on Thursdays. Then Saturday, it's Salt and Lime Brunch, and Monday they have $5 margaritas.
Wait, what about Sharkies?
Oh, sweetie, you know Sharkies is special all the time.
So you're just going in a circle. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharkies. House of Hops, Salt and Lime, the Mix, then Sharkies. Sounds like a vicious cycle.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a vicious cycle. More like a wonderful cycle.
Yeah, sounds like a cycle I need to be riding.
House of Hops, the Mix, Salt and Lime, and Sharkies. Definitely a cycle you should be riding. Hope to see you soon.
Nothing makes being outdoors better than having the right gear and the right crew. So here's an idea. Let Mountain Dew supply the gear and you bring the friends. Because when you buy specially marked multi-packs of Mountain Dew, you can collect points and earn epic limited edition outdoor gear. So buy Dew, collect points, get gear, and get outside with Mountain Dew outdoor gear.
Open to legal U.S. residents 18+. Subject to program terms at dewoutdoors.com. Ends 12/31/24. Void or prohibited.
Now at Circle K, get 2 Mountain Dews for just $4. That's 2 Dews for just $4 at Circle K. Do the Dew.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct Summer Sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Let me talk to those of you who are contact lens wearers. Are you tired of wasting time and money every day, putting them in, taking them out, cleaning, ordering new ones, glasses, prescription sunglasses? I could go on and on. Dr. Lori Travers and Travers LASIK are your answers to my question. In just 5 minutes per eye, Dr. Lori can put you on the path to 20/20 vision. Plus, it's totally painless. You can go back to work the next day. And 2 years, 0-interest financing is available. And we're throwing in $1,000 off. Now the hard part. You actually have to pick up the phone. 919-510-6830. Make the call now. The consultation is free. You could go online, traverslasik.com, but you can call 919-510-6830, 919-510-6830. Go to 20/20 vision in less than 10 minutes. Dr. Lori Travers, Travers LASIK. See what you've been missing.
Move your sports day forward.
It's okay to drive an old car. I have one. It's a 19-year-old car. But what do I do when I catch a nail? I just go get the tire fixed. What happens when my oil runs low? I just put new oil in. I don't go out and buy the new car. But maybe it's time for this team in this offseason to go buy the damn new car.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. A little smooth coming out of the break. That's funny because you know what Cooper Flagg's like internal monologue probably was, or internal like soundtrack.
What's up?
Like it was nothing smooth this weekend because he was at Team USA playing as part of the select squad against, I can only imagine, everyone he's watched play basketball growing up.
Oh yeah. Easily, by far.
Cooper Flagg was the only college player selected amongst the select USA team to scrimmage against Team USA.
He's not even in college yet.
And he's a 17-year-old, should have been high school senior.
Yeah.
And he was defending, say, Anthony Davis, LeBron, Kawhi Leonard. Name your superstars, right? Steph Curry, might get switched up onto an Anthony Edwards.
There's Joel Embiid right there.
Yeah. Gosh, mouse and mouse.
MVPs.
Yeah, whole bunch of them. I mean, just imagine how many MVPs between LeBron, Steph, Embiid. I don't even know who is Harden on the team. I don't know. Westbrook definitely not, but still, just naming MVPs now. Finals MVPs. Throw Kawhi Leonard in there. Tatum, although not a Finals MVP, should have been. Cooper Flagg was there. Does anyone else realize how crazy that is? At 17 years old and scrimmaging against Hall of Famers every day. And when you're not scrimmaging against the Hall of Famers, you're doing drill work with the Hall of Famers. And when you're not doing drill work with the Hall of Famers, you're doing drill work with guys like Steve Kerr and Eric Spoelstra and that coaching staff. It's crazy. Like, even Steve Kerr, I saw this anecdote come out of Team USA. Steve Kerr was surprised by how hard LeBron practices. And he looked at Ty Lue, who's on the coaching staff, and Eric Spoelstra, who's on the coaching staff, both guys that have coached LeBron in the past, and said, is this just what he does? And they said, every drill, every walkthrough, every practice. Imagine how valuable, like Steve Kerr played with Jordan. Steve Kerr played with Tim Duncan. And he's still learning things about how hard LeBron practices. Imagine how valuable that is for Cooper Flagg to watch. I don't like winning the offseason gets you as many like banners to hang as, I don't know, winning a video game championship. Like, it doesn't actually get you anything, but Duke is doing it. Which is wild considering they started off by losing 10 players to the pros, to the portal, to everywhere else that they went. Graduation. They had 2 players on their roster at one point in time. Now they're just winning the offseason. And you can look at me and go, oh, you're overhyping Cooper Flagg being there. Yeah, maybe. But nobody else is there. Nobody else is getting that tutelage. Nobody. Because I'm a sucker. Have you ever seen like the Dream Team documentary with Magic Johnson doing all the hee-hee, where he was like telling the story?
Yes.
With Magic going like, Charles Barkley came down. He got Carl, off the glass. Good. I said, Carl, you got to get him back, Carl. And then, it's legendary. If you don't know what I'm saying, just Google Magic Johnson with like a ee-hee, and it'll all figure out. But I'm a sucker for Team USA basketball, especially behind the scenes. So they're putting out little practice clips and everything from this Team USA scrimmaging, and it's against Cooper Flagg, and it's against some of the young guys in the league. And Peyton Pritchard, who's fresh off his NBA championship with the Celtics, right?
Yeah.
He was the guy hitting half-court shots, is playing in the game. And I saw LeBron James get matched up in transition on Peyton Pritchard. Now, Peyton Pritchard is very tall for a normal human. He's like 6'1", 6'2", something like that. That's not very tall in the NBA, and he darn sure doesn't have the size and strength to guard LeBron. And LeBron got matched up with him on the wing. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, this is a scrimmage. LeBron's gonna pass it out and work the offense. Heck no. He said, mouse in the house, got a small guy guarding me, backed him down off the glass, good. And I went, this is what Cooper Flagg needs. So then I see the ball. I see another clip. Cooper Flagg gets the ball on the wing. And I'm going, oh, let's see what he does. And he makes a little, like, half-hearted move, kind of one of those, I don't know if I want to do this, but I don't want to say I didn't.
Well, let's try it, see what happens here.
Absolutely annihilated, blocked by Anthony Davis. Fair. Happens, right?
Yeah, happens to a lot of people.
Yep, happens to 25-year-olds that are making $40 million a year.
It's probably happened to guys on this roster.
Yep, exactly. Very much so. Blocked it, but it bounces to one of his teammates. Cooper Flagg gets a cut, dunks it, with Anthony Davis not getting dunked on, but standing there watching like, oh, all right. That stuff is invaluable.
There's another play, I don't know if you saw this, where I think Davis had blocked a shot, and the ball came to Flagg at the free throw line, starts driving down the lane, gets Anthony Davis to go up, goes behind the back pass. I forget to who it was for a dunk.
Off the right side, yep.
I was like, oh, you just got one of the best defensive players in the entire NBA to, like, commit. You went behind the back with the pass? Okay.
Attract the help.
The goal.
Replace the help with the pass. A little around the back action to make it a little globetrottery.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Just the
onions on you, kid.
The gall, I was going to say, the gall just to attempt the pass. But you may be saying, right, wait, you said Duke won the offseason. You're basically just explaining how Cooper Flagg is playing well.
Yeah.
Which, yes. But then, you get down these rabbit holes. Sion James is a fifth-year transfer to Duke from Tulane, 4-year player from Tulane. He was at the CP3 elite camp, right? A lot of these best players throw these camps where they get together some of the best high school players, some of the best college players at their position. You know, little each one teach one, right? Little reach back and help the next generation.
Like tight end you.
Exactly. Only mostly with the younger, not like, CP3 isn't like,
pros. Yeah.
Inviting Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, let me teach you what I can do here. But they got together a bunch of the point guards. Sion James is there. Or I'd say perimeter players, combo guards. Sion James is there, a transfer from Tulane to Duke. This guy is a bully. He looks like Debo Samuel out there, like big shoulders, not afraid of contact, driving to the bucket. I don't know if it's the most skilled possessions I've seen in college basketball, but you can avoid a certain level of skill if you can just run people over and they bounce off of you. Here's my prediction. I think Sion James is going to get himself into some foul trouble this year occasionally with bad charge calls where it's just like it's probably a foul in the defense, but we can't call a foul on a guy with sneaker tracks on his face. Like, you ran him over. He wasn't situated. He wasn't set, but he took the brunt of it, just like whoever wins the fight always gets in trouble. Like, he's going to win some fights on block charge calls, and he's going to get in trouble for it. So I'm looking at what Duke's doing, and I'm saying I see the vision from Shire. You bring in the Cooper Flaggs, the Maluashes, the top prospects, who are all very young. Maluash, very young. Cooper Flagg, very young. And then you bring in the Sion James, and you bring in Big Ten sixth man of the year from Purdue, and you bring in a few players who are also kind of grown man strong, and you establish roles. Cooper Flagg, you're going to be a little finesse right now, right? You're 6'10", 120 pounds. You're going to do your best. Sion James, when things get physical, we're 23 power. We're running it downhill. ISO to Sion James is also, a fullback dive. Like, we have our scat back and we have our fullback. And that's something that I think Duke needs. Right now, that's on the perimeter. They have some guys that can do it down low as well. I think that's one thing they were missing last year. They had a lot of finesse guys and not as many full-grown, yes, I'm 23, but I look 34. Like, you need a couple of those as well. And Sion James was at CP3's elite camp, honing those skills, while Cooper Flagg was learning how to get by with his svelte frame and baby face against Anthony Davis and Joel Embiid and everybody that plays basketball for Team USA. It's a win-win right there.
Need some guys to forecheck.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, something that we talked about last year with Duke is just like they lacked physicality.
Yep.
Maybe that's the whole point. It's like, hey, I need you to come in here and you know what? We'll take a penalty. We'll take a foul like here or there if you get called for a charge. If you're establishing like, I don't want to step in front of that guy again.
Exactly. And
you'll take one of those 5 minutes into the game. It's like, all right.
And the Mason Gillises of the world, again, the transfer from Purdue, Malik Brown, who they brought in from Syracuse. These are other guys, like they're not young kids. You know what I mean? Gillis is a graduate transfer. Malik Brown is a junior. Like these are not guys that are going to come in with baby fat. They're going to come in with, I've been in a college basketball weight room for 3, 4, 5 years, and I'm ready to go. So again, and I can hear UNC and NC State fans screaming this, like you don't get banners for, having a really good July 4th weekend of development. You don't hang banners for that. I get it. But every little bit counts, right? And Duke had a long way to go from having 2 players on their roster, and they're making up that ground in leaps and bounds. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's look towards some offseason stuff from the Canes, right? You brought up need a guy to forecheck. I love that. I'm going to use that in basketball. That might be one of my favorite things. Need a guy that can forecheck.
Yeah, Canes have abundance of that.
Is when they prioritize it.
They do. Very much so.
Is Josiah Slavin one of those guys?
In Chicago for the Chicago Wolves of the AHL, sure.
Josiah Slavin was signed to a 2-way deal to the Canes over the weekend. Yes, in case you're wondering, that is Jacob Slavin, who just signed an 8-year contract extension, his little brother. And I thought it was. By the way, I'm not suggesting Josiah Slavin is any kind of a big signing, and it's like, well, actually, he's going to solve some problems on the no. Right, good depth organizational piece that comes from a family that you like. But then I was like, the Nadeaus, maybe a little less flashy, but Bradley Nadeau, their first-round pick a season ago, who got, 1 game of action this year at the end after his NCAA season at Maine concluded. His brother was also at their development camp, or will be at their development camp. He's on their roster. And I'm going like, all right, this is interesting. They're bringing in some brothers from some players that are expected to be main contributors to the franchise. Here's why I like it. No, and again, let me emphasize, I'm not anticipating like a double Nadeau second line 4 years from now.
No.
But I do like that these are not moves the calculator would tell you, right? You need to be aware of the personal. You need to be aware of the people to make these moves. Right, because that was one of my big concerns. And by the way, I think it was one of the concerns that the Canes, when they hired Eric Tulsky, were aware people were going to have, and they were prepared to negate it at their opening presser. But I was, he's the numbers guy. He's the guy that has, 27 patents of, like, chemicals, I guess. He's the numbers guy, advanced degree guy. And I was worried that, like, this is my biggest complaint with like the Tampa Bay Rays, which, by the way, are the affiliate of the Durham Bulls. Sometimes it feels like their manager is making no decisions, right? Their manager is just opening a Excel spreadsheet on a MacBook and going, do I pull the pitcher? It's like us with our Magic 8-ball, right? Do I pull the pitcher, shake it up? Outlook cloudy. Only the computer gives them an answer every time. I thought that maybe the Canes front office was going that way, but these moves, right? You know, the computer has an answer for everything. If you say, all right, we got 2 more slots open in our development camp, let me go to the computer. Who are the players with the highest chance of being diamonds in the rough that we might one day utilize? You put it in there. It's gonna, even if the percentages are like 0.02 and 0.03, if those are the best percentages, the computer's going to kick them out, taking into account draft position and height, weight, and production at the junior level, and age and everything else. Every bit of data point that you can put in, it'll give you a name, right? I doubt, and maybe I'm just completely misreading the situation, and the calculator actually said, Josiah Slavin and another Nadeau, and it just worked out that way. But my guess is these 2 guys probably wouldn't be on the list if it wasn't in some way understanding that the relationships with their brothers are important to the franchise, and you want to make sure you're doing right by them and their family. Jacob Slavin is now, 9 years connected to the organization? 8 years on top of this year, I believe?
Yeah.
That's a guy you want to keep happy. That's a guy who, if he asks you a favor, you do everything you can to figure it out. And even if he doesn't ask you a favor, you think like, hey, can we do him a solid? His brother's got, 18 games of NHL experience? We like our depth, but if we get into a situation where we need to play him, it's not the end of the world. If the poo really hits the fan, it's not the end of the world if he gets in there. And if we keep the Slavins happy with us, that's going to be good for everything. And I'm not even saying this is like a quid pro quo, right? I'm not saying, you extend the other Nadeau's career for a couple years or a couple months, and then you go back to Bradley, 4 years from now when you're negotiating his next deal and go, hey, remember we did you that solid? How about a little $500,000 less a year? I'm not saying that's ever going to happen. It's just good business to keep the people that work for you and you depend on happy. And maybe they have worked out a way to put that into a spreadsheet. Maybe there's if brother adds 6 points or whatever to the equation, maybe that exists, right? If the brother is a multiple-time Lady Byng Trophy winner, add 10 points. Maybe that's in there, but I doubt it. This is just reading the room and recognizing that the locker room is an important place and you want happy people in them. Because I didn't say this, but people said this about the Jake Gensel thing, which is if you want someone to re-sign with you, you have to make sure everybody likes their situation and you have to love up on them. Maybe this is part of that, right? If you want people to take a quote-unquote hometown discount, you got to make sure you're doing everything right by them because no one gives a hometown discount to the people who they don't feel like have been, doing them solids along the way. That's not a reason to do it. That's messed up, right? No quid pro quo. You just be nice, and sometimes nice will come back to you. What goes around comes around.
Yeah, and Slavin's brother's going to play the year in Chicago. Yeah, and that's totally fine.
And if the absolute, injury bug connects with you and he's got to play a week of games, maybe
then okay.
Maybe Jacob Slavin's healthy and he's covering for his brother.
Well, if that's here's the thing: if Slavin's brother's up playing, that's a lot of injuries that have happened.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It has to be 12.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's got 18 games of NHL experience. So you wouldn't expect that guy to have hey, I'm the next guy up. You would expect that to be hey, we had 8 injuries and 2 more guys we want to get rest.
Those guys like Tyson Jost, those guys they bring in, they're like your Crash Davis. They've had a little experience, so when the young rookies are down there, they could teach them the ways. Hey, look, when you're up at the big level, can't do this. You're not going to be able to get away with that on the ice. That kind of stuff. You need those guys in your organization. You need the Crash Davis.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
And if it makes Bradley Nadeau or I'm mixing up the names now. If it makes Bradley Nadeau or Jacob Slavin 10% more hey, I like this group, you do it. Lastly here, when it comes to the Canes, do we call this front office?
Yeah, I guess.
New front office, new business office hire. Mm-hmm. Doug Warf hired as the team president, which is 50, I don't know if it's 50. I don't know what the breakdown was. That was part of Don Waddell's job before Don Waddell resigned as team president and GM. So they've now replaced him with GM Eric Tulsky and team president Doug Warf. Doug Warf, a businessman with many connections to the area and actually worked for the Canes in a previous job in some of the business section. Here's Doug Warf's here's what my kind of marking down of his duties would be, his responsibilities. Handle the business, avoid distractions. Very simple, right? The building of the area around PNC, the building of the new real estate developments, game day atmosphere, marketing, on and on and on and on. That's you, right? You're the guy that makes Eric Tulsky's job easier than Don Waddell's. Right? Don Waddell had to do both. Tulsky gets to focus on the hockey. You focus on the business. You're the person that makes his job easier than Don Waddell's. From our perspective, and Dennis, I know this is important to you, what do your fresh eyes, right, because this is a person that was with the organization but has done other things in the Raleigh business world, what do your fresh eyes do for the fan experience?
He was VP of marketing for a long time for the team.
Because that is part of business.
Yeah.
Part of business is, let's call a spade here. Tickets, if you want to bring a family of 4 or 5, get a little snack while you're there, maybe a little bit of merchandise. Not the cheapest activity you can do with the family. How do you make it worth it? and make people want to keep coming back, right? All the sellouts, everything that's happened, part of that is because the hockey team is good. You don't have to worry about that. That's Eric Tulsky's job. That's Rod Brindamore's job. How do you deal with the other? And I'm by the way, I love a Canes game. I think it's awesome. I think it's family friendly. I think kids love it. As somebody with a toddler, it's, as much as I, one day hope he'll sit down and watch a whole hockey game and understand what's going on in the hockey. You need other things going on. You need things for him to talk about. You need the Jumbotron stuff. You need the parachutes coming from the ceiling. You need all that. I think the Canes could use a freshen up. I think they could use maybe a few new things to spice up the organization on game day. What could it be? Part of me wants to answer that. Part of me wants to go, Doug Warf, what's it going to be?
What's it going to be?
You come in with a marketing background? Like this is, my dad has a marketing background. And I can tell you right now, you watch television with him, you're going to get a critique of the commercials. You're going to get a breakdown of did that get the message they wanted to portray across? Was the information gathered? Like, you're going to get that. If you see an advertisement somewhere, he'll let you know if he thinks it's particularly good. Like, people with marketing backgrounds just look, or he'll let you know if a promotion is good, if it's genius. I remember, by the way, I don't know why I remember this, but growing up, do you remember they're actually still around, those like billboards that said, "We buy ugly houses"?
Yes.
We were in like a car ride, and I got like a 15-minute lecture on why that was a good breakdown, because he's like, it's genius. You already get people that don't think their house is very nice. They think they're ugly houses. So then when you give them a lowball offer and they counter with, no, I need more, you go, well, it's ugly. You came to We Buy Ugly Houses. Why would we? And it's just like, I need Doug Warf with that kind of, like, when you're on a long drive, I need him going like, what if between the second and third period during that intermission we do to make sure that the kids are staying active, because that's when, bedtimes are hitting a lot of the times.
I think it's vital to make sure, again, the fan experience is great, because I can watch a winning hockey team from my couch. I can go to a Carolina Ale House and watch a winning hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
I can go wherever I want to and watch a winning game, like watch a winning team. I don't have to go to the arena to watch it. What's going to keep me coming there? That's the big thing. And it's not just the team on the ice. I can watch that from anywhere. But what are concessions going to look like? Are concessions going to be better? What about parking? Or is there going to be
food options?
Is there going to be more options for me pre-game outside the arena, like in that plaza area between Carter Finley and PNC, where they always have the different, the big stormy blow up and all those kinds of things. Last year,
excellent accommodations for the local sports radio shows.
Something along those lines, which they do.
I know,
but they actually started.
Always get better.
I remember last year they started bringing the food truck from Backyard Bistro out there. It's like, oh, I could buy food. I can actually buy the merch outside. I can actually buy a beer and all those kinds of things outside. And sure enough, those small things they started to do last year. I don't know if you noticed, Tim. I noticed more people hanging out outside in the plaza during those times. Like, oh, wait, I can get a beer and some food before I go inside the arena? Okay, this is perfect. I'll hang out over here with the DJ and all that kind of stuff.
They did the little stuff where you could get the printed, like, a card of yourself, take a picture. Like,
more of those kinds of things. Because I can walk away with something and be like, hey, look what I got at the Canes game last night. Oh, yeah, and they won 4-2.
And I like the idea that Tulsky and Warf are separate.
Yes.
Because – like, if the guy who had to decide who to draft next year was spending too much time thinking about, like, do we bring the s'mores back or do we go with another different food option there? I'd be going, like, worry about the who you're going to draft or worry about the trade deadline. Not like, hey, we should bring back that trading card thing. Like, I like that separation of the two. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Football at 4 is going to come up next, so stick around.
It's the summer of soccer.
Swiderski for Capetti. It's stolen away by Hack. Hit the line by Gaines. A shot. He scores!
All the saves.
Polina with brilliant, quick footwork across his 6-yard box to be able to recover and grab the strike from Kubo.
All the goals.
He just sends it back into the area for Swiderski. One touch. He scores!
The Triangle's home for Charlotte FC action. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle sports leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's bow time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Tim Donnelly here for Zero Res. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified. That's carpets clean as they could possibly be, starting at just $109, and get a free hallway done on top of that. Just call now at ZeroResRaleigh.com or 919-995-0000.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
Hey, it's Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. If you're like me, you're getting crushed by rising costs of everything these days. I get it. It's brutal, and credit card rates are ridiculous and going higher. That's why at Loan Pronto, we launched our Express Equity Line of Credit to bring you the relief you and your family need, using your home, your most valuable asset. We've helped thousands of people like you get fast relief with cash. The average homeowner who does this gets tens of thousands in just days and is able to save $850 per month in overall expenses. I'm talking life-changing money, your money that you have access to right now. Listen, if you're ready to get control of your finances and get off the hamster wheel, call Loan Pronto. You can get approved for Express Equity Line of Credit in just minutes, and we can get your cash in less than a week. Stop digging a deeper credit hole today. Call Loan Pronto now. 919-381-1760. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS consumeraccess.org.
This hour of buzzer-beating, nail-biting, edge-of-your-seat sports action on 99.9 The Fan is powered by
Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
Visit GotBryan.com.
That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Weather. I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Hot and sticky for us this afternoon. A high of 92, but feeling more like 100 or so. A small chance for showers and storms across the area. Mid-70s overnight tonight, and then tomorrow, partly cloudy with a few afternoon and evening thunderstorms. A high of 95, but feeling more like 105 or higher.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones is down 31 points to 39,344. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football at 4. I don't want to sound any alarms. I don't want to sound any panic buttons, no ringing bells, flashing lights, sirens, none of it. But we should probably keep our eye on the Panthers getting back up to the Panthers' old tricks.
Oh, okay.
Adrian Wilson out as the Panthers' VP of player personnel. That was VP of player personnel is what I tried to say the first time. A lot of P's in that tongue twister. VP of player personnel is no longer Adrian Wilson. He's quietly left the team after, a year and a half.
Was hired February of 2023.
For those of you that don't remember Adrian Wilson, he was a really good safety for the Arizona Cardinals for basically a decade in the early 2000s. Started his front office career with the Cardinals. He's in their Ring of Honor. He's worked his way up and was obviously brought over to the Panthers, as Dennis said, February 2023. Now, being a great player doesn't necessarily make you a great front office executive. Sometimes I actually think it hurts you because you tend to just go, well, yeah, do what I would do there and run your 4-4 to get in recovery position and intercept the ball while diving backwards and making a one-handed catch. And then, your second-string safety is like, yeah, what if you can't do that? How do we avoid needing to do that? So I'm not here to say losing Adrian Wilson is some kind of major loss for the team because we don't know how much impact front office executives have, right? We don't know how much Brant Tillis and Dan Morgan at the top of that food chain in the Panthers player development and player evaluation, we don't know how much they listen to Adrian Wilson. It might be like, yeah, turn in a packet on the players you like. We'll get to it when we can. It could also be, hey, we're not taking anyone on the defensive side of the ball unless you sign off on them. You're, number 3 in command. We don't know. It could be anywhere on that scale. So I can't with any kind of full throat or any kind of full voice say, this is terrible. They're going to miss Adrian Wilson so badly, right? Only time will tell. But what I can say is the Panthers do have a history of being pretty quick with that move-on trigger. And they did put out a statement saying they wouldn't make a statement, right? Their response was, and let me just bring it up because I want to make sure I don't misquote it. They did put out a statement here, or I should say their response to an inquiry was Adrian Wilson will not continue in his position as Vice President of Player Personnel for the Carolina Panthers. This is from a team spokesperson to PFT. Consistent with our organizational policy on employee matters, we will have no further comment. At some point, you want to see organizational stability and consistency from the Panthers. This might be a one-off, and it might be nothing, because every team has a little bit of turnover every now and then in your front office.
Everyone does.
But the Panthers have had a lot of it.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Wilson, former NC State guy.
NC State guy from High Point.
From High Point. So he's North Carolina through and through.
And so I'm sure it's a bummer that it didn't work. I'm sure he had dreams and aspirations of the Panthers being a really cool situation for him with nearby family and nearby college friends. The Panthers will have to do this, what I'm about to say. And it might not have come into play with Adrian Wilson, but at some point, you have to let people make mistakes and play through it. At some point, you have to acknowledge that a front office might have a bad draft, but you, David Tepper, as an owner, believe in the people making the picks and give them another shot. I understand you got to move on from Matt Rule for whatever reason. You got to move on from Fitterer for whatever reason. You got to move on from Reich for whatever reason. At some point, you got to say, no, I believe in these people, and even if they make a decision that makes me look bad publicly for a season or two, I trust them to get out of it. I was telling this story to Dennis, but I read a great article on The Ringer over the weekend, right? A little travel read. I was on the plane, and it was about the Raptors drafting Bruno Caboclo. I don't know how to pronounce it. I had never really heard of the guy, but they drafted him 20th overall the season after Giannis, and the season after Giannis got drafted by the Bucks. And he was a mystery man. And the whole article was about how you don't really have these mystery prospects in sports anymore, right? If you are a third-tier player in Brazil, somebody online has a YouTube video of your pros and cons and your strengths and weaknesses. Like, there's really no completely hidden players anymore. But this guy, Bruno, was completely hidden. And the Raptors kept a tight lid, didn't tell anyone they were interested. Nobody knew. And then they drafted him in the first round. It was a shock. Fran Fraschilla on the draft coverage said, I don't know about this one. He's 2 years away from being 2 years away. He said that in the actual draft. Like, that was his first reaction, which is a brutal thing to say about a draft pick who's being picked in the first round. Which, by the way, he didn't even make it 4 years with the Raptors. So if he was... So if you're 2 years away from being 2 years away and you get moved on from after 3 years, that's a brutal spot to be. The reason why I bring this up is because that Raptors front office, Masai Ujiri, their GM, that got all excited about this mystery pick they were going to make and did all of the hidden things and the right clandestine maneuvers and spy thought processes. He's one of the best front office executives in the NBA. Right, he orchestrated the Kawhi trade. He orchestrated the Fred VanVleet development, the Pascal Siakam development from background picks to all-stars. And he's now widely seen as one of the best front office executives in the entire NBA. That's a big miss to do a big, dramatic, theatric move to draft somebody that nobody's ever heard of and have it blow up in your face. Which, by the way, they had DeMar DeRozan, they had Kyle Lowry at that time. Like, they were trying to win, and they drafted the wild prospect that did not help them at all. But patience, right? The Raptors believed in him. They said, that's one mistake. Maybe that's your third mistake, but it's not going to be the end of you. And now they're benefiting from it, and they benefited from it to the tune of an NBA championship. Who knows why Adrian Wilson is not on the Panthers anymore? Right? The only statement we have is that they're not making a statement. We don't know why. This news was originally found because someone noticed that he wasn't on the team webpage anymore, team website anymore.
Yeah. It's like, wait, where's Adrian? Why is he not listed here?
So probably a State fan just checking up on him, right?
I don't know. Or just another Panthers fan. Like, wait a second. Why is this don't know. Why is this guy not here anymore?
We don't know why he left, but I know this. I know the best teams in professional sports feel like the same people are coming back year in and year out. They're the same people they trust. They're the same people. Like, drafts are not alone, right? Free agents are not alone. It's not like making one pick is it good or bad. It's like you make one pick and then you have to pick the right player the next year to complement that player and the right player the next year to complement those players. And it all comes together like a puzzle. If you're throwing out the person with the blueprint every other year, you never get to see the finished product. I don't like to see the Panthers with too much turnover in important positions. And the VP of player personnel, it's not the GM. It's not the second in command. We know that's Dan Morgan. We know that's Brant Tillis. Mm-hmm. It might be number 3. It might be top 5, right? We're unaware. I get nervous when a team with an impatient owner, with an owner that likes to meddle, starts to have the turnover. I'm hoping it's new. I'm hoping this regime is different. I'm hoping, as we call it, the 4 horsemen of the franchise, the owner, the GM, the head coach, the quarterback, have a stable environment, not just within that 4, but around that 4 for them to continue to grow.
Do you think, this is what my gut tells me, the fact that it wasn't announced that he was let go, no, like, hey, best of luck in your future endeavors, none of those kinds of things. Do you think just something happened behind the scenes that we just don't know about? And then it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe you broke like a basically company policy. Yep. We need to let you go.
Could be. I mean, it definitely could be.
I mean, I hope that's not the case.
It could also be, post-draft, he looked around and said, I don't think anyone was listening to me. And he wanted to bounce, and they didn't want, a statement saying.
Yeah, just saying, hey, dude, I quit.
Yeah, like there's that.
There's possibility of that, too.
There's maybe he didn't vibe with somebody. He was a fitter or higher, if we did the math correctly on the calendar.
Oh, he was brought in right after Frank Reich was brought in.
Could have just been, hey, we love you, Adrian, but you got too much fitterer all over you. So, we're going to have to send you out. Like, there's a lot of, there's a lot of that. in sports. You're not my guy, right? You're the previous guy's guy. I'm just a fan of stability. When you think of the best teams in the NFL, right? When you think of the best teams in the NFL, they're the ones that are seen as loyal, stable, right? And I want that to be thought of with the Panthers.
Which is confusing because Scott Fitterer came from probably the most stable franchise in sports in the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yep.
As a part owner over there.
Well, I mean, even like if you look at
not learn anything?
Oh, you mean Tepper?
I'm sorry, Tepper,
yes.
not Fitterer. My apologies on that. David Tepper.
And like the Morgan and Canales being with Seattle, they know what it looks like to have a very stable, same regime for a long time franchise.
Where Fitterer was.
Exactly. Well, I mean, at a certain point, you do have to run out of patience. You can't
That's
just let
true.
them keep making mistakes. But you're going to have to trust someone at some point in time. I know that much. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, and I'll tell you this. I trust Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location in Raleigh. I trust them to sell me the finest timepieces out there, including one of their new partnerships, Blancpain. Blancpain is a watch with so much history. I've talked about the 50 Fathoms, which is one of their models, one of the very first trend-setting, market reestablishing dive watches of all time. Right when you got to know how much air is in the tank, which is a pretty important thing to know when you're diving. You can trust a Blancpain watch, which makes it very trustworthy on your wrist. But on top of that, it's the style, right? It's the things that they cared about a little bit more a little bit ago when Blancpain was established back in 1735. Handcrafted dials, right? Artisanal touches, details, enamel painting on the dial. There's a bit of commitment to no quartz, meaning these are automatic and mechanical watches. You do not need a battery. They are a piece of art. They are a piece of mechanics movements from a time in the past or traditional watchmaking, and you can learn all about it at Fox and Bailey Watch Shop, located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. When you stop out, make sure you let them know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan from me, Tim, on The Drive. They'll know what that means. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have our podium. We have our storm tracker. We have some championship conversations. That's right, off season, and we're talking championships next.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the seventh best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
Longer days mean longer rides. Make sure your bike, your ATV, your side-by-side, even your golf cart are the best around. From Sound Station and Security, we've got custom stereo systems, custom speakers, even video and LED lighting options for your bike, your ATV, and even your golf cart. Look the coolest on the road or at the lake, just tooling around. All available with installation from Sound Station and Security, with 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
New $80 million cash blowout and triple red 7s mean new winners. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds winning range from 1 in 4.28 to 9.95. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Date the rate, marry the house. A phrase often used by realtors to describe the difference between keeping your new forever home as opposed to your mortgage rate, which you'll only keep until something better comes along, kind of like speed dating. A recent study by the Wall Street Journal further supports this notion by finding the average life of a loan to be less than 4 years. Their suggestion? Find a no-fee loan, which is exactly what Miller Lending has been telling you since 1996. With no closing costs of any kind, you can simply close on today's rates and refinance each time something better comes along. So while builders promote buydowns with over $10,000 in closing costs, or lenders advertise crazy low rates with even more, Miller Lending continues to be the leader in the no-cost mortgage. So before you throw away thousands of needless fees, pick up the phone and call your local neighborhood lender, Miller Lending in Cary, 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu.
Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance company wants to pay you the least amount possible. Law Tigers are riders too, so we understand what your bike and gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and we don't get paid until your case settles. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The wait is over. Dell Technologies Black Friday and July deals are live. Check out incredible savings on select laptops and more, like the XPS 15, powered by Intel Core processors. The XPS 15 brings you the perfect balance of power and portability, plus stellar visuals and immersive sound. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to exceptional tech and electronics, plus free shipping on everything. Don't miss out on Black Friday and July savings at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get started here with the podium, go ahead and text keyword music, you know it's a Monday when you go, let's spell music, S. Let's spell music, M-U-S-I-C. It's a Monday. I had a couple days off, all right? Text keyword music, M-U-S-I-C. The worst part is there's really like no words in this read that start with S. It's not even like I could say I started spelling something else.
Nope, you didn't.
I decided to start music in the middle.
Yeah, you did.
Text keyword music, M-U-S-I-C, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Third Eye Blind at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 21st. I was going to make a reference to a Third Eye Blind song. I was going to make a reference, there we go, to a Third Eye Blind song, but I don't even trust myself to like actually be right on it right now. I feel like it would be a different song, be Three Doors Down. They're the How's It Gonna Be, that song, right? Doobie-doop, doobie-doop.
Yeah, how's it gonna be?
Yeah, all right. I was right on that one. Wrong on pronouncing all of that.
Little semi-charmed life.
Semi-charmed life. Yeah, that's a good one. Those songs put you right back into place, don't they? Text keyword music, M-U-S-I-C, to 919-860-5326 for your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Third Eye Blind at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on July 21st. That's how it's done. Now let's get into the podium. The podium for today, I thought we'd talk championships. Thought we'd talk rings. Thought we'd talk banners. Thought we'd talk the triangle. So here's how it's going to go. And this is
the
one.
Olympics are coming up.
True. We're going to have to do like gold medals, the podium of gold medals during like.
Yeah, right.
The podium of podiums. For the Olympics at some point. I'm really excited for the Olympics. I am a diehard Olympics fan.
There's a bunch of the USA swimmers are here in Cary training.
I mean, there's a ton of local ties. There's a diver from the area, a bunch of NC State ties on the swimming team. I'm trying to think any Tatum, Duke basketball player.
Yeah. Bam Adebayo from the state of North Carolina.
Yeah. Quite a few. But I digress. The podium today is about championships, not Olympic gold medals. It's about which team in the triangle is most likely to win a championship next upcoming season, right? Which one is most likely? And we have established championships as national championships, okay? Or professional championships. We're talking Stanley Cup. We're talking national championships. You know, you're not going to get too much love for, like, I know this doesn't exist anymore, but, like, we were the Atlantic Division champs. Like, you're not going to get those. No, hey, we were the Metropolitan Division champs. No. Got to win the final ultimate prize. Got to win the last game of the year in order for this to break. Now, Dennis and I both have our bronze, silver, and gold. We did not check with each other. So we want to go bronze, bronze, silver, silver, gold, gold?
Sure.
I'll start. Bronze, and I flirted with keeping this team off the podium. Canes.
Really?
Canes. Here's why. And I was actually talking with Megan from Mix earlier today. She does some of the arena hosting for the Canes. It does feel like for the first time they might, and I know some of the betting numbers still have them as one of the favorites. I think they might go under the radar a little bit this year. And I kind of like that vibe, right? The past few years they've gone in as like the behemoth
Cup
that everybody
favorites.
was chasing, and it was – I think giving them like a half season to get their footing before they vault into like the, win or bust, I think it might help out. They still have players I like, and I'm still optimistic. They'll probably make us real nervous and chew our nails down and rip our hair out. But I'm still optimistic at the deadline they might be able to get that other scorer that I so desperately crave for their second unit, and maybe even a second unit or second line center. So Canes, bronze, third most likely. I still I still think they're good. I can't quit them.
They're a playoff team, and as we all know, just in the
there.
NHL, just get to the playoffs. Just get there. Then everything else.
Then Pyotr Kochetkov gets hot.
That's all you need. Just get hot in the playoffs. Just got to get there.
Who's your bronze?
Duke men's basketball.
Okay.
Duke men's basketball. This is a roster, I feel like, with all the young talent that's coming in terms of, the Cooper Flaggs and all those guys. But also the veteran experience with the
two vets?
Well, it's not just the veteran guys that are coming back.
Transfers. Got you.
Like Caleb Foster and Tyrese Proctor, but the guys that are transferring in. Get the sixth man of the year in the entire Big Ten from Purdue coming in. The guy from Tulane, fifth-year guy, coming in. I think that's a nice balance of a roster for John Shire that he hasn't had in his previous two seasons. And let's not forget, John Shire did take the team to the Elite Eight last year.
Mm-hmm.
As flawed as their team was and in the little depth that they had, I think this year's team is going to be probably more talented and deeper. I think, for me, bronze, they have a legit chance of making it to a national championship game.
More varied, I think, is important as well. Like last year, it felt like they just had a lot of like freshmen and sophomores that were very similar in where they were in their career,
super young,
and where they were in their developments, and in some cases skill sets. This year, it seems more varied. My silver, NC State women's basketball.
Oh, okay.
Made a nice little run last year. Kind of, you hate it, but I do think it was overshadowed in some ways by the men's true Cinderella run, because it was like, you guys are good. It's less impressive that you made the Final Four. This team was bad till like a month ago. Not bad, but you know what I mean. And also James, Rivers, and Brooks all coming back. Like that's a run that you look back on and go, they gained all that experience last year, and then they returned to their core, and that's so important. So I think NC State women's basketball, and with, make no mistake about it, there were. And they're now kind of hanging over the WNBA. The Caitlin Clark Angel Reese thing was a thing in college basketball, and they're gone, right? So there's going to be a shuffling and maybe a vacancy all the way at the top. So James, Rivers, Brooks returning. NC State women's basketball makes my podium at silver.
I got to go with a team that's won 5 national championships in the last 6 years. Silver. UNC field hockey. Just talk about a run.
Yeah.
We overlooked the sport for various reasons, but for this, we're talking about next Triangle Championship. I got to go with the team that's won 5 out of the last 6. And Aaron Madsen leading the way, who was multiple-time All-American. Then all of a sudden, just in her first year as head coach, just another natty. Just the machine keeps running.
Yep, it's
a freight train. Try and stop it.
It's wildly impressive.
Exactly. So, yeah, I got to go with them. UNC field hockey.
I want to be clear on this. My University of Delaware Blue Hens did win one in 2016.
Okay, well, just
throwing that out there.
Okay.
And then basically since then it's just been North Carolina.
Yeah, it's
that's actually a fantastic answer and one that I overlooked, but I shouldn't have. I should not have.
Okay, what's your gold?
My gold is Duke men's basketball.
Oh, really? Okay.
I'm high for all the reasons you brought up, and then maybe a little bit more as far as I think the top level play of their two best players, in Cooper Flagg and Nikolaj, are. I think that's going to be something not many basketball teams have. I think when you can go 6'10", 7+, and have skills and abilities, that's not seen in college basketball anymore. At least not as much. And then you mix in everything you said. I love their varied roster. I think there's going to be a lot of people that hate this team. I think that's partially what makes a Duke basketball team exciting is you're either for them or against them. And I think this is going to have all the DNA. I think this is, that for whatever reason, Shire is always going to have those comparisons to Coach K. For whatever reason. We know exactly the reason. Because he's the guy that replaced Coach K.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he's going to be compared to the guy whose job he replaced. But this is the first time it feels like one of those Duke teams that's just like, they got a lot of talent on that team, don't they? And it seems like everybody they wanted, they kind of got, right? They went into the portal with a plan. They executed it. They went into the recruiting with a plan. They executed it. They picked the two guys they wanted to keep, got them to stay. I'm high on this Duke basketball team this year.
My gold.
Knock my socks off.
When you win 3 straight national championships, and you're from right here in the Triangle.
So you did more a deep dive.
Yeah, I did. NC State women's cross country. Yeah. They've won 3 straight national championships. Who says they can't win a 4th in a row?
Who
says they can't?
I'm checking eligibilities real quick.
I know Tui's no longer here.
That's the one I was like, is she coming
I get
back?
that. That's fine, but doesn't mean you can't. I mean, it's a team race.
Yes, it is.
I know she won the individual championship in 2022. I totally understand that, but it's still
she's got a bunch of individual
points.
accolades. Like
she's got tons.
It's not. Yeah,
she's got tons. But guess what? When you've won 3 straight national championships, you can recruit just about anyone in the country. Like, hey, you want to come run for us?
Good point there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh, you won 3 natties in a row? Sure, I'll come to Raleigh. Yeah, NC State women's cross country,
3
just
national
like UNC field hockey. 3 straight national championships. That's my gold for the next one to win it. That's my gold, hands down.
Your list is probably better than mine.
Yeah, it is.
So I'll concede that, but I still like the ones I like.
That's fair. That's totally fine. Trust me, I almost went like UNC women's lacrosse. But you got to get through Boston College. There's a buzzsaw.
The ACC is always going to be good at both lacrosses. It's always going to be a buzzsaw there.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd think they'd be good at like the field hockeys and the cross countries as well, and they're just getting buzzsawed by one team.
I mean, UVA, actually, I even looked like further ACC. You look at like the last 4 years, UVA's like women's swimming has won the last 4 national championships. I think that's also the U.S. Olympic coach. I think is also the head coach at UVA.
They get a lot of people that transfer there hoping to impress them to make the Olympic team and work with them and train
Claire
with them.
Curzon, who we interviewed a while back, she started at Stanford, then transferred to UVA because Olympic training and all that kind of stuff.
And, I'm starting to see this a lot, like, just because I'm an Olympics nerd and I watched the trials. They do have, like, school, like, name of competitor, name of swimmer, school trains out of. And a lot of times they train out of Virginia. Even if they're from, like, Texas, they go to, Stanford. They train out of Virginia to get ready for the trials and the Olympics because they want to be around that. So, and like, I mean, it's crazy we didn't bring up the 4th team in the nation that made the Omaha College Baseball World Series in UNC. Maybe it's because they're losing Honeycutt, but didn't even get brought up. There's so many good programs here in the Triangle. But with the Podium, what do we say? Everybody doesn't get a medal.
No.
In this case, we handed out 6.
Well, you and I both had Duke men's basketball. But
Both had
in
Duke men's
different
basketball.
spots.
Yeah, and I would cede my other 2 to you because they have a little bit more like money in the bank, if you will. Like it's already a little bit more accomplished. So there you go. Champions. We're talking champions. And we could have thrown in Abby Lampy. Cheese rolling champion.
She's undefeated in that.
Is she really?
Yeah, she's 2 for 2.
Are there a lot? Is there a circuit? Like, can she go?
Is there a circuit?
Is this like F1? She's won because where is that in England somewhere?
Yeah.
Is there like a Tucson Open or something like that? Can she? I
think it's pretty flat there in Tucson. I don't know if that cheese is going to roll very far.
Fire
Cheese will
that
probably
other-
melt. Actually, let's be honest.
Now we're just talking nachos. Now it's just a gathering.
Yeah, there you go.
Now it's just a gathering with some melted cheese. I don't know. It seems like there should be chances for her to defend her title.
By the way, Abby Lampy, Pat Welter from WREL Sports did a piece with her. So if you go to WREL Sports Fan, there's a nice
She
video.
taught him how to roll down a hill.
Yeah, she legit practiced at Dorothea Dix Park.
Good on Pat. That's journalism. Like that's commitment right there.
Yeah,
to go learn how to roll down a hill.
Props to Pat.
Props to Pat. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That was the Podium. Let's fire up the Storm Tracker. Storm Tracker is the place every single day right about this time. 4:33 is when it's scheduled. We fire up the Storm Tracker and we talk about the rumors, the rumblings, the news coming out of the Canes offseason. Dennis, what rumor are we talking about today?
So the Martin Necas trade rumors continue to swirl. Apparently, the latest regarding Martin Necas, Nikolaj Ehlers, who we heard from the Winnipeg Jets, apparently that's been fired back up. Apparently, it's like, hey, let's start getting this
Dust
thing
off an
cooking
oldie
again.
but a goodie.
Like, hey, let's run it back a little bit. We want to talk a little bit more about this now. Something I did find interesting, Tim, that happened over the weekend. The Carolina Hurricanes traded defenseman Dylan Coughlin to the Winnipeg Jets for future considerations. It might be like a conditional 7th-round pick, which is like, hey, if he makes the team, you can send us a 7th, pick one whenever year you want. Maybe that's probably it. But basically, future considerations, it kind of like gave him away, which is like, well, clearly you two are talking.
That was just a greasing of the wheels. That was
exactly. It's like, hey, you know
like,
what? Like, let's give you this. Let's kind of get things rolling.
Did you ever watch the show? And I haven't watched it in a while. It might still be on. American Pickers.
I don't think so.
It's on like HGTV or History, one of those kind of fringe channels. But there's these 2 guys, and they go to like people's barns and just go like, "Hey, do you have any old stuff in there? We'd like to go try to buy it." And they just walk around like, I don't know, like farms that have barns full of like old Coke signs and old motorcycles and old whatever, toys and trinkets. And they're always, the first thing they do is they just want to get a purchase. They call it I think breaking the seal maybe, but it's like even if they buy like a Pez dispenser for $7, like it's just all right. Now we've exchanged money. You know that you trust us, we trust you. Then they can go make a $15,000 offer for the 1936 Indian motorcycle that's rusting in the corner. But they just needed to get that first little transaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you $3 for the mail carrier over there, or the mail envelope opener over there, just to get it started. The Coughlin move was just let me give you $3 for the Pez dispenser. And now that we've broken the seal, how about we talk about that 1964 T-Bird out back?
Yeah.
Like, that's what they're going for. I don't hate the move.
So this is according to Steven Rosner. He posted this on X back over the weekend. He covers the Islanders for the Hockey News, also a beat reporter for NHL.com and all that, because apparently the Islanders were interested leading up to the draft about acquiring Ehlers. But the report is, he says there are reports that Carolina is pushing heavily for Ehlers. Can confirm these reports make sense with them losing Gensel. But again, the Islanders are apparently in conversation to get Nikolaj Ehlers as well. So that is something that is on the line. Apparently, potentially, again, just rumors, things floating around. We're not entirely sure because, well, nothing's happened, Tim.
So
everyone was all
let's talk
hot and
about
heavy
Ehlers.
on Martin Necas, and things kind of cooled off a little bit.
Let's talk about Ehlers as an option. multiple-time 60-point guy.
Yeah.
Wing, which I always appreciate.
Sure.
Because he can slot into that second line. Would rather it be a center, but hey, we can do. 28 years old. Here's
like a couple years older than Necas.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Would you trade 3 years of age for a guy who's a bit happier to be there? Like that's
possibly.
That's what it comes down to, right? Because Necas, he has a 70-point season, I believe.
He has one in there, yeah.
And then 40. Like I think their production, if you like averaged it out, it's probably actually pretty similar, I'd assume. Would you trade 28 for 25, meaning age, in exchange for a guy that's a little bit happier, a little bit fresher, maybe not as worn down by being a part of that organization? Because that's kind of what it feels like to me with Necas. He's just, he feels like he's been waiting his turn to get center minutes. He feels like he's been waiting his turn to be first team power play, first unit power play, and he just hasn't quite gotten there. And I'm not sure if he will. I'm not sure if Rod sees him in that role. So, if you bring in someone like Ehlers, he's not as like worn down by it, right? Maybe he wants those same opportunities, and I don't think he sees himself as a center, but maybe he's just a little bit more like fresher to the area. Would you trade 3 years of age for that, right? Because then he goes from Nate just kind of fits in with like the Svetch kind of class of age people, and Ehlers probably fits more in with the Slavin kind of age people, right? It's a different generation of your team, which inherently gives you less time on the backside to enjoy that player's ability. That's a conversation to have. Like, how much age is happiness worth to you? How much age is buy-in worth to you? Because Martin Necas, it does appear the first time he can test the open market is very interested in doing that. If you can get Ehlers and get him to commit more long-term and get more buy-in, is that worth getting 3 years older? I think it's worth the conversation.
Plus, I think there's the big thing as well is that, all right, if you're going to swap players one for one, okay, fine. But the question is, if I'm Carolina, okay, if I'm getting Ehlers in return, how long do I want to keep him around? Do I want to keep him for the next 3 years, 40 years? Is that something you're willing to do because of the age thing that you mentioned? Whereas if I'm Winnipeg or any team that's going to acquire Necas, I want to make sure I have a contract negotiated before I try and trade for him, because otherwise I'm losing the guy in a year.
And true. And do you ask for a sweetener? Listen, these guys are putting up similar production, right? They're both wingers. There's a lot of similarities here, except one's 3 years older. What else can you kick us, right? Like that's, I think, a legitimate question. Do you get an answer that you like? Winnipeg probably won't jump at the opportunity to give you a sweetener, but I think it's an appropriate question to say, what else am I getting? Because we are moving backwards in the age category. It's an interesting rumor. I would not hate if Ehlers was the guy. I do think I'd like to know more context on it, but I don't hate if he ends up being the rabbit they pull out of their hat. But if you're going to wait this long, I do think you might as well wait to see who's losing this season and who's a seller at the deadline.
By the way, real quick, Martin Necas, because he did elect to go, same with Jack Drury, did elect to go to arbitration because they are restricted free agents. Because they elected to go to arbitration, they are not eligible to sign offer sheets. So another team just can't swoop in and just be like, hey, man, here's a big offer sheet for you. You want to sign it?
7.5 a year.
Yeah, exactly. Carolina can say, okay, we'll just take those picks or something like that if they wanted to. But they obviously don't want that. But because they did elect to do that,
That's off the table. Yeah.
Not going to sign an offer sheet. By the way, Ehlers, productive in the regular season. Postseason production.
Oh, one of those guys.
Lacking.
One of those guys.
Let's just say lacking. Martin Necas is essentially a half a point per game in the playoffs, average over his career. Half a point per game.
Okay.
Ehlers, let's say he's less than that, to say the least. Only 14 points in 37 postseason games for Nikolaj Ehlers. So he's not very productive in the postseason. Just
all
14
right. Well, in that
points.
case, Winnipeg needs to be a better sweetener.
Exactly.
In order for you to
give
make
us
this happen.
more.
Give us more. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dennis Cox for you.
Hey, Dennis Cox here with my friends over at Loan Pronto. Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free. No credit cards, no car loan, no personal loan. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, your home value, it's way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Panthers fans, I have a question for you. Is Cam Newton the best dual-threat quarterback in NFL history? Cam was asked just that on his podcast. We'll play his answer coming up next.
Hi, this is Renee Chu. The most trusted local news in the Triangle is now on the radio, WREL News Plus. Now get breaking news and severe weather reports on the radio 24 hours a day. Listen on the radio at 96.5 FM in Durham, 99.3 FM in Raleigh, and everywhere in the Triangle at 101.5 HD3.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Spectrum Internet has enough speed to handle all your needs, so you can work, game, and stream with speeds up to a gig. Plus, Spectrum's advanced Wi-Fi provides enhanced security for all your connected devices. Get Spectrum Internet with fast and reliable speeds, starting at just $29.99 a month with a 2-year price guarantee. Visit spectrum.com/internet for you for full details. Offer subject to change, valid for qualified residential customers only. Restrictions apply.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff.
Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next?
Ballroom dancing.
I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Hey, Katie. Hi. Let's embark on a performance calibration initiative synthesizing qualitative and quantitative metrics for this past fiscal year.
If Heineken Silver was corporate jargon, it would have all the info you need. None of the annoying gibberish.
What I was trying to say is, you crushed it last year, Katie. Lady, you are getting a big, fat bonus.
Heineken Silver, world-class light beer. Only 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All the taste, no bitter endings. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
You're not going to want to miss this. Diamonds Direct summer sale starts next weekend. For 3 days only, next Friday through Sunday, get 20% off. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, and more. Plus, book an appointment and get an additional $100 off. And designers are flying in from New York and LA to showcase their latest trends. That's 20% off, plus $100 off with an appointment and designer trunk shows. Tons of engagement rings on sale, too. 20% off starts next Friday. Details at diamondsdirect.com.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
They're still making moves. What I want to decide is if it's busy just to stay busy, just like we're doing something about it. We know something has to happen, so we're working hard. You look in the ant farm, you want to see people walking in lines following each other, right? You want to see work being done. Or if this is actually how they plan on solving the issue.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Is Cam Newton the greatest dual-threat quarterback of all time? It's a question Cam Newton was asked, which is inherently a tough position. I'm just going to say, that's a tough position for Cam to be in. Yes, I am. I am so awesome. Thank you. That's a tough spot to be. So when he gives his answer, keep that in mind. Cam Newton was on his podcast. What is it? Fourth and one. And he was asked just that. Here's Cam's answer.
Do you see or think of yourself as the greatest dual threat to ever play the game?
No, Lamar Jackson.
Why so? Why Lamar?
Well, Lamar's style is a little different than mine. He got big play, any play.
Yeah.
Yes, he got speed that I never had, and he's just electric. And then, I play the game more powerful. You know,
you're gonna run through you. They might run around you.
Yeah, I can run, but I might probably get caught. Lamar, they ain't getting caught.
There's his answer. First of all, let's run the nominees. It's Cam, it's Lamar, it's Mike Vick, it's Randall Cunningham, it's
Steve Young,
if you consider him dual threat, and he definitely was for parts of his career. And maybe if you want to lean further the other way, somebody like Cordell Stewart, right? His ability probably kind of in the wrong era. I agree. It comes down to Cam and Lamar. The funny part is I actually think Cam explained the crux of this argument is they're really not all that similar.
No, they're very different.
He said Lamar because Lamar is faster. I get that. But you can't bring up what Lamar does better than Cam without bringing up what Cam does better than Lamar. Lamar is not nearly as strong or as powerful or as big as Cam Newton is. Cam Newton might not be as top-end fast as Lamar is. And when I say might, I mean he's definitely not. But it's how do you judge that, right? Who's a better running back, like Mike Alstott or Reggie Bush? They're different beasts.
Like Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, exactly. Peak Derrick Henry or peak Christian McCaffrey, who's better? I don't know if you can answer that question. Right? Peak Emmitt Smith or peak Marshall Faulk. I don't know if you can answer that question. Of course, we're going to because that's what we do in sports radio. But I think if Lamar answered that question, he could very easily say Cam because Cam was better at scoring touchdowns on the goal line. And it's all right, I think both of those answers are understandable. I tell this story all the time. I was lucky enough to watch Cam in person in Bank of America, as so many of us were. And just one of the times I saw him, we so happened to have tickets that were I was looking straight down the goal line. Right, so I had the pylon camera view that we all wanted the NFL to have for 100 years, so you could just see if the ball crossed across the goal line. I was right there, and they're playing against the Bucks, and they had the ball on the 2-yard line, and he caught a shotgun snap, ran straight at the line of scrimmage, and just jumped over the top, and he had his arms up like they were he's in a touchdown position almost, with the ball in the top hand, and he just went over the top and scored. And I remember thinking at this point in time, it hadn't been that long since I was out of college playing football. And I just went, I don't think you can stop that. I think that is an unstoppable play from 2 yards out because he's bigger, taller, and stronger than you, and he's just going to jump higher than you. And you can't commit everything to stopping him because he's a good enough passer to make you win, make you wrong that way. It was just I was watching something and I went, that is unstoppable. And there are very few players in NFL history who have anything that can be described as unstoppable. Lamar is one of the best in the open field of all time, and that goes for any position, right? When he gets to wiggling and he's doing his back and forth thing and making guys miss, he's unreal. Cam Newton down at the short yardage, I think, isn't one of the best. I think he is. And by the way, they're both really good passers of the football. They have records next to their passing totals. Let's not get carried away by any of this. They need to improve a ton. If I had to choose between the two of them, I think I'd choose Lamar too. I think I'm on Cam's side. But I know there are people out there right now arguing for Cam, and I can't I like right and wrong answers. I can't tell you you're wrong if you think Cam's the best dual threat quarterback of all time. If you want to tell me Mike Vick, I could hear that conversation as well. But for me, it's Cam due to his longevity, due to his productivity, and due to his touchdowns. That is one of the most overlooked things of all time. The hardest yard to gain on an NFL football field is the last yard. And he does it better than anybody. Lamar actually doesn't score a ton of touchdowns. I think part of that is by design because he's smaller and they want to protect him, and that last yard is a hard one to get. So they let him run all over the place when there's space, right? When Hollywood Brown or Zay Flowers or whoever he's playing with, Odell Beckham Jr., has run the safeties 30 yards downfield, he gets to play tag, right, with the linebackers chasing him, and he just – but then once it gets down to the goal line, they're like, yeah, you should probably hand it to Gus Edwards. And this year it'll be Derrick Henry. Cam Newton thinks Lamar is the best dual-threat quarterback of all time. I don't think he gave himself enough credit.
Yeah, he downplayed his ability.
Which is, again, he's in a tough spot.
Sure.
He can't come out and say, me by a mile. You ever see Lamar score the touchdowns? No. Like, sometimes you got to read the room and just answer the question. But I think it's close.
Oh, it's razor thin. If you were to tell me like it's the other side, if you were like I wouldn't disagree with you. I really wouldn't.
To me, it's one of those like I want to say like healthy debate, but I know that's been taken. Mm-hmm. It's one of those debates where it's like, no, I hear what you're saying. I agree with you, but here's why I'm my way. And then they're like, no, I hear what you're like. You don't want to insult each other because you're like I respect ball. I respect your opinion. Like you're on the right side. I think I'm on the more right side. I'm on the more correct side. So I think Lamar's just he's different.
Yeah, it's like trying to compare Seth Jarvis and Jacob Slavin. They do two totally different things.
Hey, I was gonna say it's actually it's
both hockey players.
One of my favorite analogies. Yeah. Who's the better musician, Jay-Z or Foo Fighters?
Mm-hmm.
Your choice probably says more about what you like than the quality of either of their music. Who's the better dual threat, Cam Newton or Lamar? Well, do you want more highlight plays or do you want more touchdowns and short yardage? Probably tells you everything you need to know. But I also respect Cam for having those conversations because a lot of people are like, well, I let you handle all the talking head stuffs, and I just, I'm happy with my career. He's like, no, I'll answer you. It's him. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on here, Tim Donnelly for Capital Financial Advisory Group and our friend Coach Pete. What you need to understand about old versus new life insurance. How about that? Because so often we talk about Capital Financial Advisory Group. We're talking about protecting your money, and it's important, and they do a great job with it. And building your money, and it's important, and they do a great job with it. But it's also about not getting caught in the ways of the past. Life insurance is not your grandparents' life insurance anymore. Get this. Coach tells me you could even use the death benefit of your life insurance to pay for any long-term care expenses, and you can do that tax-free. It's one of the many benefits of the new generation of life insurance. So when we talk about protecting your money and growing your money, that's an innovative way you might be able to do it now, right? Because if you're spending long-term care expenses out of your death benefit tax-free, it's not coming out of your retirement account. It's not coming out of the other accounts you have earmarked for other things. Coach Pete and the fiduciary planning team at Capital Financial can walk you through the best way to put your life insurance policy to work for you and your financial future. Call right now and Coach Pete will walk you through it and hook you up with a copy of one of his best-selling books, but you have to tell him I sent you. Give him a call. Say you heard about it from Tim on 99.9 The Fan. He'll hook you up with the walkthrough and one of his best-selling books for free. Call 800-691-3215. That's 800-691-3215. Or you can text TIM, T-I-M, to 600-700. Again, Tim to 600-700. The starting five is coming up next right here. Don't go anywhere.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the seventh best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
If winning is part of your game plan this season, then it's time for a trip to Pure Hockey. We've got the newest inventory in sticks, skates, and more arriving now through year end. So it's time to gear up and unleash your potential. At Pure Hockey, you'll find the biggest selection for on and off the ice. You'll also experience industry-leading personalized skate fittings with the newest in advanced 3D scanning technology. Plus, our rewards program is unbeatable. Head to your Wake Forest Pure Hockey store plus 2 other nearby locations and start earning today. Pure Hockey, your ultimate hockey headquarters.
Picture this, the perfect summer barbecue. No stress, no responsibilities, just all your friends, burgers sizzling, hot dogs cooking, Pepsi Zero Sugar fizzing, and a backyard of very, very happy people. Oh yeah, we could get used to this. Very, very used to this. Grilling, better with Pepsi.
For a limited time, get 2 20-ounce Pepsis for only $4.25 at Refuel. So hurry in and enjoy an ice-cold Pepsi today.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Bobby Joe absolutely hated her job.
Can't hate that job any more than I do.
So, time for one of those fancy tech schools?
No, I could never afford that. I'm going to Sharky's.
Sharky's?
Yeah, no better place to relax. Great food, cold beer, good whiskey, darts, billiards.
So now you love your job?
No, I still hate my job, but I loves me some Sharky's. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, everybody loves Sharky's. Sharky's Place, one of the best neighborhood bars in the world. 5800 Durley Road by the Shell Station.
Hot summer days mean time on the water. Let Sound Station and Security make your time even better with our custom boat options. At Sound Station and Security, our Raleigh marine experts can help you for everything with your boat, from the perfect audio system to lights to video. We do it all custom and we do it all from scratch. You're unique. Your boat should be too. Make sure everyone knows where the best party is this summer on the lake with Sound Station and Security. With 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
Organize easy. Organize tough. Customize your work truck or van with upfit solutions from Van Products. Steel and aluminum shelving, toolboxes, data files, cabinets, drawers, conduit carriers, ladder racks, everything safe and secure. Everything built as unbreakable as you by Adrian Steel. Backed by the best warranty in the business. 3 years, 36,000 miles. Everything custom installed by Van Products so you know it's done right. From a single work rig to a fleet, choose custom installed upfit solutions from Van Products.
Is foot pain keeping you from living the life you love? Hi, it's Jonathan Cotton with the Good Feet Store, and life is too short to be living with foot, knee, or back pain. When all 4 arches in your feet are supported, the results can be amazing. Go to goodfeet.com to make your appointment today.
Move your sports day forward.
It's okay to drive an old car. I have one. It's a 19-year-old car. But what do I do when I catch a nail? I just go get the tire fixed. What happens when my oil runs low? I just put new oil in. I don't go out and buy the new car. But maybe it's time for this team in this offseason to go buy the damn new car.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader. This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers.
He scores! What a comeback!
Visit GotBryan.com. That's GotBryan.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on radio, web, app, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. An isolated shower or storm can't be ruled out this evening. It's warm tonight, 75. Maybe an isolated storm tomorrow afternoon, the high 97. But for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, rain chances increase.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 31 points to 39,344. Market update brought to you by The Good Feet Store. Ready to step into a healthy and active lifestyle? Come to The Good Feet Store and experience the difference. Discover how a simple step can lead to a life of pain-free possibilities.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. On a Monday, a little bit after 5 o'clock, I bet it's time for the starting five, starting with number 5. Doug Warf, named Carolina Hurricanes team president. Talked about this earlier today. I'm not sure we're going to see Doug's impact on the ice very much. I think that is a good thing. I think that is by design. I think it is a situation where professional sports need a GM who, obviously it worked for Don Waddell to do the GM and team president thing, built a very successful rebuild of the Carolina Hurricanes. But I do think it's gotten to the point now where if you're going to shake things up, it's smart to make Eric Tulsky the GM and have somebody else come in as the team president, separate those duties and responsibilities, make one in charge of the hockey and one in charge of everything else. And Doug Warf will be busy with everything else.
And that everything else includes the renovations to PNC Arena, the mixed-use stuff that's coming in and outside the arena, the new parking and entertainment stuff. That's going to be his thing.
The concerts and comedians that come through PNC, the concourse, the game day experience, the marketing, the broadcast relations, everything. Like that's where, Don Waddell burning the candle at both ends. That guy was doing quite a bit. And, working with the Centennial Authority and working with, obviously, NC State, who uses PNC. Like, there's a lot, and working with Tom Dundon on whatever the owner wants you to work on. Like, there's a lot of things going on there. So if Doug Warf can take all of that off the plate of Eric Tulsky, and you look at Eric Tulsky and say, your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th thing on your to-do list when you come into work every day is get the Canes a Stanley Cup, I think that's valuable. When for Don Waddell, it might have been, first, fourth, fifth, seventh, and ninth thing was to get a Stanley Cup. Meanwhile, the other things in the top 10 were like, talk to Live Nation about the concerts coming up, help get the renovations funded and approved and get that across the finish line, figure out what nights are going to be promotion nights. Are we going to do a bobblehead? Are we going to do a foam finger night? Which vendors are going to be allowed to serve food or drinks or whatever? Like, there's a lot of other stuff going on. Dennis, we talked about this earlier today for a little bit. The game day experience needs to get better. Anything stick out that you think doesn't, by the way, needs to get better is the wrong way to put that. It's one of those things that can always get better. I love going to Canes games. The experience is awesome, family friendly. I think they do a really good job of making it an event. But is there anything that you're like, hey, you know what I would like to see?
I like to see a little bit more in the plaza area between Carter Finley and PNC, that area right there where they have done more, or at least over the playoffs. We saw a food truck, I think it was a Backyard Bistro, food truck come in, selling beer and things like that outside, which I think was good for people that may have got there early but didn't have a spot to tailgate. And like, hey, before the doors open, I can drink a beer and get some food before going inside. I think those kinds of things, maybe a little bit more of that would be kind of nice.
Hear me out on this.
Okay.
Part of the agreement, if you want to have a agreement in place to have a store, have a restaurant, have something in this new, over the next, whatever it is, 10 years development process, you got to put together a booth, right? Until that becomes a thing, you need to have a presence on game day, right? So if you're going to put a restaurant in, You don't have to bring like a full menu, but bring a booth with some poppers, right? Bring the grill. Do something there. If you want to have a store, show up, bring some goods on game day, right? Because it'll only benefit you if the outside of PNC is already popping by the time your store is put in place. So if you want to have a reserved spot, you want to have your real estate defended there, you got to bring something on game day. Not every game, whatever, like 50% of the games or something you need to have it. I'm just spitballing here. This is something Doug Warf can think on.
I'll bet my niece Laurel, who's 6 years old, wants a bounce house.
They bring them all. They had 3
massive
different
bounce
blow-ups at some point in time, which I'm fine with. Make it 10. Kids love those things. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
We are the 4 horsemen. Woo!
Dennis, I think for this section I turned my mic off.
Oh, okay.
Because I've said this before. Don't hold it against me. Not a big pro wrestling fan.
Well, that's being held against you.
Just never caught the bug as a kid. Never really got into it. But I do understand there's some large news, big news, coming out of the wrestling world in regards to a particular retirement.
Yes. So one of the faces of professional wrestling, especially in the WWE, is John Cena, and he is actually retiring from professional wrestling. He announced it that he's basically having his retirement tour, which is going to end at some point during 2025. So WrestleMania, I guess it's 41 in 2025, will be his last WrestleMania. That won't be his last show. He's still going to continue to do some stuff throughout the year. I think he said somewhere between like 30 and 40-ish dates that he'll do with the WWE. He might even do some house shows, which for those who don't know what a house show is, it's the non-televised stuff. Like, hey, we're still putting on a wrestling show and an event. It's not on TV. It's not Raw, SmackDown. But you still get to, go watch your favorite wrestlers perform and all that. So that is something that is going to be happening in 2025. And this is someone who's been, like I said, one of the biggest faces of professional wrestling over the last 20, 25 years. And
can you give us and this again coming from like I know John Cena, right?
Yeah.
I know the very surface level, the You Can't See Me, the baggy jorts, the Hollywood movies. Like I know who he is, but I don't know the vibe here. Could you give us like a football equivalent? Like, is he Tom Brady? Is he?
Yeah, he's kind of long, like the longevity and just the
GOAT
being relative. Well, I mean, I'm not going to throw that stuff around all the time. Yeah, I mean, if you want to throw that around out there, Peyton Manning.
Okay.
If you want to throw that around out there, like in terms of, again, longevity, relevancy, he's won more championships than Rivers has. I'm just calling it what it is. But I would say something along those lines, like a Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Yeah, he's up there in terms of like the upper echelons of.
He's an inner circle Hall of Famer.
Yeah, for sure. Like you would sit there and say, yeah, that guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer. So there's some people that he's always been polarizing in terms of there's some like diehard wrestling fans.
That's part of the job, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's some diehard wrestling fans who weren't a big fan of his gimmick or like how he was booked or whatever it was like that. But nonetheless, he always stuck around, stayed true to himself and stay true to the brand of WWE. And the guy's done like, I don't know how many thousands of Make-A-Wish for kids or whatever it is.
I did know that about him as well. That's permeated outside of the wrestling world. I think he holds the record, like the Guinness World Record.
And it's not even close.
For most Make-A-Wish wishes fulfilled, which is cool. I mean,
he's definition of a company man.
Yeah. And that's even going above and beyond. What I will say, and this is somebody that just knows him from like I said, I'm not a wrestling fan, memes and stuff. I do think it would be a hilarious end if for his last show, like his music plays and he just doesn't come out.
Oh.
Because like the whole You Can't See Me thing. Because I see the meme online where it's like someone's taking a picture with John Cena and all the comments say like, why is that person taking a picture by themselves? Because you can't see John Cena.
I get it.
Like I see that. I think it would be funny if like the music played, everyone's excited, and then he just doesn't come out. It's like, he was there. You just couldn't see him. Huh? Should I write for the WWE? Should I?
I would stick with what you're doing.
That's fair. Anything else to say on John Cena retiring?
No, I think it's just it's one of those things that we see in sports of just kind of the changing of a guard. But I guess it's a retirement tour. We've seen like Derek Jeter do this.
Which I hate retirement tours from players and coaches. But for this, since it is all scripted and like that gives the writers something to I don't hate it for this because it's like the entertainment of it all. I hated it for Jeter. I didn't like it for Coach K. I like remember Dwayne Wade tried to have like a hashtag. I don't like all that stuff. I'm sure we'll get one from LeBron. I don't like retirement tours in sports, but this one's a little different, so I might be okay with it. But I probably still won't watch.
That's fine.
It's expensive. There's a lot of pay-per-views and stuff.
It's all on Peacock, so if you subscribe to Peacock, you can just watch them.
Who's got that Peacock login?
One more app that you got to sign up for.
Yeah,
Golly.
Another streaming service. That's number 4. Let's get to number 3.
1, 2, 3.
Cooper Flagg, incoming Duke freshman, is they keep calling it he's the only college player on the select Team USA team, which is the collection of young players that scrimmage against Team USA for the Olympics to get them ready. They keep saying he's the only college player. Like, I don't even know if you call him that yet. You could call him the only high school player, the only high school or college player. He's 17 years old.
He's supposed to be a senior in high school. We're going into his senior year.
And he is quite literally during the Team USA basketball training camp scrimmaging against Joel Embiid, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, like the best players in the world. He is scrimmaging against them.
Think of like the NBA All-Pros. This is them, basically.
Yes.
Just about.
The overwhelming favorite to win the Olympic gold. And Cooper Flagg gets to test his mettle against them. And guess what? And I love this. It's not going swimmingly. It's going very well. He's making some plays. He's making some highlights. But occasionally, he takes it to the bucket, and he gets it swat away by Anthony Davis, which is exactly what should be happening, right?
I think he's had like a pinch yourself moment. Like this whole time, it's like, someone just pinch me just to make sure I'm awake.
I'm sure. I mean, that guy probably has one like every third day. He gets to do a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, like they scrimmaged, and even just because it's a lot of young pros, right? It's a lot of first, second, third, fourth year NBA players that are on the select team, and it's him. And I saw after a scrimmage they did like the handshake lines, like the whole "Hey, great job." And LeBron was giving daps and high fives and and then he gave him a little bro hug. I'm just like, dude, like a 17-year-old. They were asking Anthony Davis like who he asked for an autograph. Like, have you ever asked somebody for an autograph? He said, back when I was a kid, I got LeBron's autograph. Anthony Davis has been in the NBA for like a decade.
Yeah, he's been teammates with LeBron for 5 years.
He said he went and got LeBron's autograph. Can you imagine Cooper Flagg at 17 years old getting special attention from LeBron James? And what that does for Duke? If you were just scoring a bucket against Joel Embiid, does the backup center for Boston College even do you even see him on your way to the bucket?
No.
Does the starting center for Boston College, now that Quentin Post is out of there, there has to be an element of he is swinging a metaphorical baseball bat with the biggest, heaviest metal donut on the history of the world on it. And then he's going to take off the donut and go back to playing his regular competition. And he is going to be swinging that bat 900 miles an hour. Like, oh, Kawhi Leonard used to do this to me, trying to stop me from getting to my turnaround. What do you got for me? Florida State? Like, that's what he's dealing with. I think it's going to be a big season from Cooper Flagg. And I've said this before. The Duke haters, they're going to feast. They're going to get after it.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, you know, that's something you could talk to. If LeBron is like, all right, we're icing knees here. Like, you got 25 minutes. What do you want to know, young buck? Might be like, how did you deal with when you went to Miami? When all of a sudden you put on the black hat, right? When you were the bad guy, how did you deal with the decision in the aftermath? Because I'm about to go to Duke, and you know how that goes. And I don't even know if you can ask Jason Tatum that, because that Tatum team with R.J. Barrett and Cam Reddish was actually, I think, pretty likable. I don't know if they got the That team and the Zion team, I think even Duke haters were like, well, those.
It's like, yeah, but
if they didn't play for Duke, they'd be pretty cool.
They are fun.
Bunch of pretty. I like when he dunks. I think LeBron might be the best. Like, hey, give me some advice for dealing with the haters. Just imagine that. I need some advice on how to deal with haters. Well, go to LeBron James. That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us.
Adrian Wilson, former Pro Bowl Ring of Honor player for the Arizona Cardinals.
Former NC State.
Former
safety.
NC State player, High Point native, so a guy with local ties. Was the, vice president of player personnel for the Carolina Panthers beginning in February of 2023. Actually, I don't even know if we know exactly when this happened. Sometime recently, it was noticed that Adrian Wilson was no longer on the team website. We know that he was in the draft room for the Carolina Panthers draft because we saw it during an episode of The Blueprint, which is their behind-the-scenes YouTube series. And he was there getting very excited when they drafted Jonathan Brooks. He's no longer their vice president of player personnel. And I wish I had more details for you than that. The team responded to a inquiry about it from Pro Football Talk by basically saying he's no longer the vice president of player personnel. Based on our, policies, we will not be having any further comment. That's essentially what they said. In a scale of big deal to no deal, I think this is a no deal, right? I think it's nothing that you need to be up in arms about yet. But I do think it is something that you should wait it out on, right? I do think it's something that you should monitor if you're a fan, for the simple fact of we've all been burned by this team before. We've been burned by the organization before. We've been burned by the front office before. We've been burned by ownership before. And one of the ways I think we've been burned is lack of stability, right? First sign of weakness, first sign of mistake, first sign of not getting along, replaced. I like giving a guy a chance to make a mistake. And by the way, let me be clear when I say that. I'm talking about like championing a player who doesn't pan out. I'm talking about like disliking a player before the draft who turns out to be a star. I'm talking about, thinking two players could mesh well together and turns out they can't. Like, I think those mistakes should be forgiven. If this turns out to be something non-football related, again, we have no clue. That's obviously a completely different situation. You got to figure that out based on your business practices. But I get nervous about the Panthers every time there's a blip in the consistency and stability that it feels like they've been working towards since putting together the new group of Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. Seems like they're trying to be more, we're all in on everybody together, rather than like we're all fighting for our own lives here. So if this ends up being, a mass exodus or a bunch of changes or anything like that, I would be very concerned about the future of the Panthers. Because I think Dave Canales and Dan Morgan simply need to trust and believe in the people around them. And I think that is built over time. That's number 2. Let's jump to number 1. The Canes have continued to make moves. They've continued to make changes over the last, a month or so? Maybe not even that. 2 weeks. Here's my worry with the Canes. And Roslovic being signed is a player that falls directly into this. A player they signed on a 1-year, $2.8 million deal to be a part of their forward group. I'm starting to see a ton of players that I really, really, really like on the third or fourth line, right? Carrier is another one. I really, really like him on Stahl's line. I don't think I'd like him on the second line of forwards. I really, really like Roslovic. I'm not sure I like him as a second-line center especially, but maybe not even as a winger. I'm looking at some of the moves they're making, and I'm wondering if they're doing like the internal math of like, all right, we can't get a second-line scorer, but can we, Moneyball, replace him in the aggregate right? We're not going to have a 30-goal scorer. Can we have 3 10-goal scorers? And as I've said throughout this offseason, I'd like to see the Canes go a little bit more top-heavy, right? I think you're okay during the regular season, playing your depth guys, getting it in. But when the postseason comes along, I don't think you need to worry about the fourth line as much, right? I think you can play your stars a little bit more and depend on them to be the movers and the shakers and the difference makers. Right? It's I made this analogy earlier today, so apologize if you're hearing it for the second time. It's like when a wide receiver or an NFL team decides, all right, we can't find a number 1 wide receiver, so let's put together 5, 2.5s, right? 5 number 2 and number 3 wide receivers and try to replace them in the aggregate. And I'm going, don't love that, right? You need the one guy that can win. So I keep coming back to this same question with the Canes, which is, who's going to do the bulk of the scoring outside of the top line? If we assume the top line is Aho, Svech, and Jarvis. And if it's not Aho, Svech, and Jarvis, then what are you giving up on that top line to bring somebody like Jarvis to the second line and help fill that role? Right? How far is the drop-off from Jarvis to whoever you put in that top line? Are you going to end up depending a ton on Martin Necas, and how will that go? Which is a question that has like 75 sub-questions, right? Like, how will that go with Martin Necas is really interesting, because maybe it is that. Maybe if you just say, Martin, you're the goal scoring on the second line. You're the dude.
Like, all right.
Maybe that makes him go like, oh, that sounds fun, right? It's like, all right, maybe I do like it here. Maybe that changes everything. Maybe that makes him go, I'm going to go score 40 goals just to spite y'all and then leave. Like, maybe that's what happens. There's a million different ways it goes. I'm nervous about the second line for the Canes. I will say this, and this shout out to whoever said it to me on Twitter over the weekend. It is early July. You're not playing any games in late July. Right? There's no games you have to be ready for anytime soon. So there is time, right? What's the thing about the problem? Do you have a problem?
Yeah.
Do you know how to fix it? Yes. Then you don't have a problem. Do you have a problem? Yes. Do you know how to fix it? No. Then there's nothing you can do. You don't have a problem. Like, the Canes might have a plan to fix their issue, and it might not come till the trade deadline. It might be, and we've floated this a few times, they might know something we can't possibly know about one of their young guys. Felix Unger-Sorum, an 18-year-old that's right now at development camp that impressed in training camp, maybe that's the next dude in the NHL. And maybe they're just, chomping at the bit to unleash him on the league, and he's going to score 30 goals. Maybe that's Bradley Nadeau. Maybe that's Jackson Blake. These are all prospects in their system. Maybe. I hope so. I hope all 3 of them are that. But until I see it, I'm going to continue to be concerned about that second unit. And I don't think you can replace it with but we got 9 third-line guys. This just doesn't seem fair. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I want to tell you about Miller Lending right now. I'm Tim Donnelly for Miller Lending, the home of the no closing cost loan. This is one thing I like to remind people when it comes to Miller Lending. When you close on a mortgage with Miller Lending, that's just your next payment, not your forever payment. Right? I know, I've bought a house, I've gone through the whole thing. They put that chart in front of you, right? This is how much you're paying per month over the next 30 years on your 30-year mortgage, and here's how much you're paying in interest, and here's how much you're paying in principal, and on and on and on. And you look at it, and your head starts spinning, and you go, whoa, okay. But guess what? The average mortgage in our country, it's 4 years or less. And it's been that way for decades and decades and decades. So why would you think about, I'm going to be paying this much for the next 30 years when on average you're getting a new mortgage, whether refinancing, getting a new house, upsizing, downsizing, moving cross country, moving cross town, you're getting a new mortgage within 4 years. Right? That's just your next payment, not the payment you're going to make forever and ever and ever. If rates drop, refinance with Miller Lending with no cost. That means no third-party fees, no closing costs, no fees at all. Zero means zero. With rates as high as they are right now, You should never pay closing costs or fees. If the rate drops in 3 to 4 months, refinance again with no cost to take advantage of those rates tumbling. It's really, really something you should look at. And to do that, give them a call, 919-447-3377. That's Miller Lending's phone number, 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. That's millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We're going to take a break, but first, we need our numbers game contestants. It's been a while since I get to pretend I'm a game show host. We need 2 contestants to play. We have a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th. Talking about booking the arena. Monster Jam coming to PNC. July 27th, if you want a pair of tickets, you got to win the numbers game. If you want to win, you got to play. If you want to play, you have to call in right now. We need 2 contestants. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. Numbers game coming up.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
There was such an incredible stretch of rom-coms. Where is the How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days of the world? Where's the She's All That? It feels like everything now is just a remake of something else, and it's done poorly.
Well, they did remake She's All That.
I know.
With Addison Rae.
I didn't watch it. We didn't need that.
Unsportsmanlike.
Mornings from 6 to 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Hungry for flavor and value? Then it's Bo time. Nothing slays the hunger beast like some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. And there's never been a better time to satisfy your Bojangles sandwich cravings than now. With Bojangles Summer Sandwich lineup, you can choose a flavorful Cajun fried chicken filet sandwich, or a tender Cajun grilled chicken filet sandwich, or a crispy Cajun filet club sandwich, or a tasty Bo's chicken sandwich. Make it a sandwich combo and add your choice of a side. Maybe Bojangles seasoned fries, dirty rice, or Cajun pintos. And to complete the perfect meal, Bojangles legendary iced tea. There's a Bojangles sandwich combo for everyone in the family. Summer just doesn't get any better than that. What are you waiting for? You know you're hungry, and you know you want flavor and value. So, it's Bojangles Sandwich Combo time.
Monster Jam. Massive stunts. All-out racing. Crazy skills. Monster Jam. As big as it gets. The fun begins at the pit party, where you can meet the drivers, get autographs, take pictures, and see the trucks up close. Get your $20 pit party pass at monsterjam.com today. Must have valid event ticket to enter pit party. Restrictions may apply. Rules and activities are subject to change. Visit website for event details. Coming to PNC Arena July 27th and 28th.
What are you doing? Eating caviar. Yuck. Get this. Supreme 7 scratch-offs from the North Carolina Education Lottery have the best odds to win $400 with a $4 million top prize. So I'm learning to enjoy rich people stuff. Okay, let me try. Gross. What's next? Ballroom dancing. I'll lead.
New Supreme 7s, a shot at supreme riches. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 4.18. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Together live, I Prevail. Hailstorm. July 9th, Coastal Credit Union Music Park, Raleigh. With special guests, Hollywood Undead and Fit for a King. On sale now at livenation.com. I Prevail, Hailstorm. Part of the Mattress Warehouse Concert Series.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career and they talked to me about it.
He was done in just months.
I did do it online.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at My Computer Career.
It worked for me and I know it can work for you.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive, and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust, and I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for the numbers game. Our contestants for today are TJ in Raleigh and Tom in Wake Forest. They will be battling it out in the numbers game to win a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th. That is the prize that goes to the winner. As always, we need to ask a question to see who goes first. TJ in Raleigh, we'll start with you. What was your favorite part of this past weekend, with the catch being it has to be sports related? What was the sports related best part of your weekend?
Watching the USA Basketball Olympics, their practices.
I'm with you. I've enjoyed that quite immensely as well. Tom in Wake Forest, we'll give the same question to you and then pick our favorite answer. What was the highlight of this past weekend? What was the sports related highlight of your weekend?
Yeah, I'd say seeing a score of like 25 under at the John Deere Classic. That was pretty cool to see.
This is tough. You guys are attacking me on both of my favorite fronts. I love Team USA basketball behind the scenes, and I love golf. This one's tough.
Don't ask me, man. Don't ask me.
And neither of them really have local ties, so we can't break the tie that way.
We got quite a few local ties on Team USA basketball.
Yeah, but I'm sure there were some local golfers in the golf.
Sure there were.
We'll go with the basketball. I already talked about the basketball today, which means I must have been more excited about it. And Cooper Flagg was there. That'll be the tiebreaker. So TJ in Raleigh gets to go first, but Tom in Wake Forest, don't worry, you'll have your chance to win the tickets. TJ, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, you got to pick your category. NFL alliteration, all players whose first and last initials are the same. NFL Tom and Tommy, all players named Tom or Tommy. NBA current players only, or NHL Canes and Whalers only?
NFL Tom or Tommy.
All right, these are all players whose first name is Tom or Tommy. I will give you the team and the player. Give me their jersey number with that team. I'll give you 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. Any questions before we get started?
No.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Tom Brady, New England Patriots.
12.
Correct. Tommy DeVito, New York Giants.
5.
Incorrect. Tommy Kramer, Minnesota Vikings.
Pass.
Tom Waddle, Chicago Bears.
10.
Incorrect. Tommy DeVito, New York Giants.
6.
Incorrect. Tommy Kramer, Minnesota Vikings.
23.
Incorrect. Tom Waddle, Chicago Bears.
35.
Incorrect. You were kind of on the right track with DeVito. You said 5. He wore number 15. Obviously to get Brady with 12. Tommy Kramer with the Vikings wore number 9. And Tom Waddle with the Chicago Bears wore number 87. So you got one. That'll be the lead in the clubhouse. We'll keep you on the line. We'll see if it holds up, all right?
All right, sir.
You know what was tough there, Dennis? After saying Don Waddell so many times talking about the Canes offseason, Tom Waddle just did not want to be said that way. I was like, Tom
off there a little bit.
Waddle instead of Waddell. That was impossible. Tom in Wake Forest. Now we get another Tom. Tom in Wake Forest. You ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right. The categories you get to choose from are NFL alliteration, players with the same first and last initial, NBA current players only, or NHL Canes and Whalers only.
I will go NFL alliteration, please.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. You have one pass if you need it. You need 2 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
No, sir.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Shannon Sharp, Denver Broncos.
84.
Correct. Chris Carter, Minnesota Vikings.
80.
Correct. Patrick Peterson, Arizona Cardinals.
7.
Incorrect. Josh Jacobs, Las Vegas Raiders.
8.
Correct. Mike Minter, Carolina Panthers.
30.
Correct. Patrick Peterson, Arizona Cardinals.
21.
Correct. Let's go. Let's go. That's a 5 for 5. It's been a while since we had a 5 for 5, and there's a couple really good pulls on that. Mike Minter is not an easy one. I know he's a Panther, and I know he was very good during his Panthers run. But that's a good pull right there. Congratulations, Tom in Wake Forest.
All right, thank you.
All right. Got my energy flowing. Nice start to the week.
Did it in 24 seconds.
24 seconds, which is not the record, but 5 for 5 is 5 for 5.
5
we
for 5,
we can't be picky. Home run over the fence. It doesn't matter if it makes it by an inch or a mile. You win a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Sit on the line. Dennis has some info he needs to get from you to make sure you get your tickets. But we do not soon forget 5 for 5s. I was ready to almost chastise the listeners because we had a 1 on our first contestant, and then Dennis lets me know in my ear. He said, "Hey, by the way, when you weren't here on whatever that was, next Wednesday or last Wednesday, we had 2. Both contestants went 4 for 5." And I was like, "Man, need everybody to step up and perform when I'm here." We hadn't had a 4 for 5 duel in a while, and then just as I was thinking that, Tom in Wake Forest comes back with a 5 for 5. I feel like way more excited than the contestants on 5 for 5s, and I don't even get the prize. I just get to sit back and say, you win. With that being said, let's keep it rolling. Let's get a streak of 5 for 5s. Everybody, stay sharp, right? Do your morning crosswords and your Sudokus. Stay sharp, and we'll once again tomorrow play the numbers game around this same time with a pair of tickets to see Monster Jam at PNC Arena on July 27th on the line. So I encourage you all to bring your A game tomorrow and the rest of the week.
Yes. By the way, on Thursday last time we had the numbers game, we had both contestants go 4.
I just said that. I was ready. I was so ready to scold the listeners, saying like, "Why are you doing well when I'm not around?"
I mean,
and then we started with a 1 for a 1 to start, and I was like, "Uh-oh!" But then Tom completely redeemed himself and got a 5 for 5.
Totally redeemed himself.
So now I'm back on the listener's side. With that being said, here's Dennis Cox.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. I know all of us are fans in some way, shape, or form, but being part of a fan, being part of a group or a community, almost like you're being part of a family. This is something that I've experienced as a motorcycle rider. Anyone I talk to, anytime I'm on my bike, or people might ask me, about what I ride, whatever it is, and I actually literally have had people tell me when I first bought my motorcycle, it's like, "Hey, welcome to the family." Like, you're that family, you're part of that group of riders. Just like when you are a fan of your favorite team, you're part of that group, you're part of that family. And this is where Law Tigers comes in. If you're ever in a motorcycle accident, it's nice to be able to rely on family. So Law Tigers, they're riders just like me. Anyone out there that rides a motorcycle, they're part of that family. So if you are ever injured in a motorcycle accident, call family first. Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. The insurance companies want to pay you the least amount of money possible. Law Tigers, like I said, they're riders too. They understand what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. Your case evaluation is always free, and they do not get paid until your case settles. So call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks towards college basketball and a movie we've seen before, maybe starting to rerun or get remade. Or actually, let's talk Hollywood. Reboot, that's what they call it, right? The reboots in college basketball. Stick around.
The Adam Gold Show.
I saw some video of LeBron, KD, and Steph Curry. The last time we saw something like this was the Dream Team. Michael Jordan, the best player. Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, the 7th best player in the history of the game. This team has LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry. Historically ridiculous.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL TV's 11 o'clock news.
Tim Donnelly here, and I want to tell you about Fox & Bailey Watch Shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry in their Village District location. They have all of the watches you could possibly be looking for. It's a space that pays tribute to the early days of Bailey's Fine Jewelry, and some of the watches, they pay homage to the early days of classic vintage timekeeping. We're talking pre-owned and vintage Rolexes. They have a large selection, the largest selection of pre-owned and vintage Rolexes in North Carolina. They have an Omega boutique on the other side of the store that is the second largest of its kind in the country. Omega has been the official timekeeper of the Olympic Games since 1932, so when every second counts, Omega, well, they always come through. Go ahead and check it out. It's all at the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop and their Omega boutique located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. I'm a huge fan of awesome timepieces, and that's why I love Fox & Bailey.
They say health is wealth, and I could not agree more. That's why if you or somebody in your life is living with everyday aches and pains, I want to tell you about Relief Factor. And I'm telling you, I can feel the difference. Relief Factor is a daily supplement that helps fight pain naturally. Naturally. Now that's a big deal. Developed by doctors. Relief Factor's unique formula of ingredients all work together to help support your body's response to inflammation. Instead of masking pain for a couple of hours, Relief Factor actually helps reduce or even eliminate your pain for good. Whether it's neck, back, joint, or muscle pain, if you're looking to feel better, live better, give Relief Factor a try. In 3 weeks, you will know if it's working because you'll feel it. For instance, I was sent Relief Factor to try, and I've been taking it every single day. I'll tell you what, I feel the difference every day. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4-RELIEF. Save on your first order. Don't let pain tell you how to live. Fight back naturally with Relief Factor. These products and statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Theater Raleigh presents Bull Durham, a new musical playing Reynolds Industries Theater in Durham, September 10th through the 22nd. Based on the classic movie, follow Crash Davis and his Durham Bulls story in a new genre. Details and ticket info at theaterraleigh.com.
Did your mobile provider just increase their prices again? Switch to Spectrum Mobile, the nation's fastest growing mobile provider. With Spectrum Mobile, you get unlimited talk, text, and data, plus nationwide 5G. Switching to Spectrum Mobile has never been easier. We'll pay off your phone balance up to $2,500. Stop dealing with price hikes from your cell phone company. Get Spectrum Mobile. Visit spectrum.com/itpays-to-switch for full details. Offer subject to change. Service not available in all areas. Restrictions apply.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Imagine waking up this time next week and being 100% debt-free from credit cards, car loan, and personal loans. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit can make it happen. Homeowners are turning their home equity into cash almost instantly. With Loan Pronto's AI-based system, you can get approval in about 10 minutes with almost no documentation, no appraisal, and no hassle. You can get hundreds of thousands of dollars out of your home. Use that money to pay off all your other loans. The average homeowner saves over $850 a month doing this. Listen, Your home value is way up. You can use that to wipe out all those credit cards. Get some money for a home improvement. Literally hundreds of thousands are at your fingertips, and approval is just minutes away. Call now, 919-381-1760, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, equal housing lender.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Dan Hurley of UConn signed an extension with UConn. That's not the news here. The news is the numbers on the contract, right? The guy winning back-to-back national championships, and then the team saying like, "Hey, we'd like to keep you around longer." That makes sense to me. The news is the numbers. 6 years, $50 million. Now, again, let's go ahead and do the whole thing where we say for any of us, that's a boatload of money. And of course you would accept that. He turned down 6 years, $70 million from the Lakers just a couple weeks ago. Are we at the precipice of like a Coach K run, only instead of at Duke at UConn with Dan Hurley? And I know Coach K obviously was younger, but probably around the same age that Coach K was in 2004 when he turned down the Lakers, trying to make him an NBA head coach for a bunch of money. When you start turning down $20 million more over 6 years, that means you might have staying power, right? It might be difficult for anyone to pry you away from the place that you are if you're willing to take $20 million less over a 6-year period. Right? Coach K, once you turn down the Lakers, all right, I guess he's staying at Duke for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And Dan Hurley just did the same thing.
He could probably tell UConn if he needs something, or like wants to add someone to his staff or whatever it is, whatever resources was, like, hey, I turned down $20 million to stay here. Like, I did you guys a solid by sticking around. Like, you
on top of, even if you take the most money, he just won back-to-back national championships. That's got to come with some kind of like, hey, I need to add something to the budget. Like that's like, and then top of that, back-to-back national titles. Let's just talk about that. If you win back-to-back national championships with a bunch of roster turnover, that lends to staying power, right? If you win back-to-back national championships in this era where guys turn pro, where like imagine if Coach K's
transfer so quickly.
Imagine if Coach K's back-to-back national championships in 91, 92, he like Leitner and Hurley left in between the two of them, and he won it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And Grant Hill would have, like, everybody, right? Because the money would have been too big. Like, that's what UConn was able to do. Donovan Clingan's one of the top picks in the draft. He didn't even start for him in the first run. The staying power is what is standing out to me. And it feels like maybe they're all happening kind of simultaneously for Hurley and UConn, and they may have been like different moments with Coach K, but there are those moments where you're like, oh, he's going to be here a really long time, isn't he? And he's really good at this. And by the way, the same thing happens for a few other coaches. Let me think of a good one here. Obviously, like Roy Williams is similar, but I think a lot of like he's really, really good came at Kansas, and then he went over to UNC and just confirmed all of it once again. But you did get the sense once he got there that was an end game for him. That was his dream job. I'm trying to think of a football example. I don't know if there is one. Because Nick Saban did take the money to go to the NFL and then came back to college, which is a different situation.
To a rival school.
True. I don't know if there's as good of one. It seems like there's like, I don't know if there's as good as one where you realize, oh, this person is gonna have options. They're going to have a chance. People are going to offer them more money. People are going to offer them more glitz, more glamour. People are going to offer them, the professional ranks. And they might just turn it all down, and they might just stay here, and their rivals are not going to like them very much. It feels very similar to 2004. Feels very similar to 2004 with the Lakers and Coach K. And that's a challenge for everyone else in college basketball. That means Dan Hurley is going to be one of the obstacles you have to get over, and he's proven he's pretty darn good at this thing. Right? The back-to-back natties with the roster turnover, it's like it's not, and by the way, like and there's no disrespect to a lot of coaches. You still have to be a good coach to win any kind of championship. But every once in a while you see a coach, right, you stumble upon a great player, and then you win a championship, and you might win 2 if they stick around for 2 years, and then it's like, all right, do it again for me to believe you are a great coach and not just a coach that linked up with a great player. Dan Hurley has already proven he's a pretty good coach. So if I'm UNC, if I'm Duke, if I'm State, if I'm these programs that really try to judge themselves not on like, oh, are you above 500 or not? Oh, how many years do you make the tournament? They try to judge themselves on, can we add to our multiple national championship banners that we have in our home arena? There's an additional very talented goalie trying to blocking you from accomplishing that goal. And you would never say, like, just like you would never say, I hope my rival retires. Right, because that just sounds like you're not a competitor. Nobody would ever say, like, I hope Dan Hurley takes the money that the, Brooklyn Nets are going to offer him in 4 years. But now you might not even be able to hope for that trap door. Right? You might have to sit back and say, he's not going anywhere. Just like about 2010, probably right after that national championship, everybody realized Coach K wasn't going anywhere. I think that was the Shire national championship, right? Once that one hit, it was like, all right, he turned down the Lakers. He won another natty. Feel like he's just going to be around until he, the wheels fall off. And he went all the way through the retirement tour. Second conversation about retirement tours today. Maybe one day I'll go on my full rant about why I don't like those.
I'm generally not a big fan of them either. Just generally not, because it's like, hey, when I come to your place, look at me. Just look at me. It's what I feel like.
It's more nuanced than this, but I just think if somebody booed you for 40 years, why would you want them to clap for you the last time? Like, if you tormented that fan base for 10 years as a player, and now it's like, oh, but I'm leaving, you expect them to be like a knowing nod and a hat tip? It's like, no. This is their last time to really yell at you. Like, let them yell at you. Don't go out there all sad and feeble and thank them for the rivalry. Go out there and say, all right, one last time, what angry words do you have? It's the spirit of competition. After they retire, if they come back, whatever. It's very similar to the tribute videos thing, by the way. Maybe I'm just a cynical person and don't like celebrations.
Maybe you are. I have no problem with the tribute video. It's like, all right, it's during a commercial break. It's for the fans to say thanks. And then you know what? You keep playing and you move on.
But what are they thanking him for? Leaving?
Well, it depends.
Trying to beat him? Because that's what he's trying to do now. Just wait till they retire. That's all I got to say. Hey, everybody, go ahead and please, as always, a personal favor that I ask of you, subscribe to our YouTube channel, 99.9 The Fan. Not only will you find the content that we produce here as part of The Drive, but there's a whole 99.9 The Fan YouTube universe. There's Panthers Playbook. There's Pack Therapy, a couple of podcasts that Dennis and I are involved in. There's Kane's Corner with Adam Gold and a rotating host of guests that chat with him. There's
Victoria has her MMA Minute.
Yep, Victoria with her combat sports coverage. There's stuff from the Adam Gold show. There's Triangle and Two. There's a whole bunch of stuff up there that I encourage you to go check out. We put a lot of work into creating that YouTube content, and we'd love for you to enjoy it. Just we ask while you're there, subscribe. That helps us out a bunch. Comment. That helps us out a bunch. Like videos, and most importantly, share those videos. If you see something that your buddy would like, hit that share video, send him a link. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. It's really One of the only things I ask you to do. That's my only personal favor. With that being said, Overdrive is coming up next, and we're going to be talking about the Canes roster construction. For a week, I was away. I unplugged, and I came back and looked at the roster, and in some ways, I changed the way I thought about it, and in some ways, I went, my concerns are still the exact same. So that's coming up next here to start Overdrive. We'll also hit you with a little Panthers talk, and we'll be back tomorrow at 3 o'clock for more. And there's development camp going on with the Canes right now, so maybe some info out of that. We'll see. Again, tomorrow at 3 right here on 99.9 The Fan. Enjoy Overdrive. Until tomorrow, have a great night, everybody.
Move your sports day forward.
It's okay to drive an old car. I have one. It's a 19-year-old car. But what do I do when I catch a nail? I just go get the tire fixed. What happens when my oil runs low? I just put new oil in. I don't go out and buy the new car. But maybe it's time for this team in this offseason to go buy the damn new car.
Get set up.